Welcome to KG5 for today's TSL clash between the old rivals Glenorchy and the Clarence Roos. I'm Damien Gill. Along the moment is Brent Costello, and shortly Cam Brown will toddle along and join us. G'day, Breno.
Gil, how are you? Good afternoon. Good to be on board again on a beautiful day here for footy. It's been an interesting morning though, conditions-wise, hasn't it? We had a bit of rain, but at the moment the sun is out and bathing KG5. Looking forward to this one as Cam Brown joins us. These two teams hate each other's guts, Brownie, don't they?
Yeah, traditional rivals and have been for many decades, boys, and played in numerous grand finals in old TFL days and statewide league days, and then reformed statewide league days. So as we've mentioned, no love lost between these two teams, and Redwood's interest, where Paul Kennedy actually, one of the first things that was indoctrinated into him was about the hatred of the Clarence Footy Club and how it's really important for Glenorchy to get a win against Clarence whenever they can. So we'll get a good look at Glenorchy, boys. We saw them a couple of weeks ago. We were really impressed with them when we saw them play here against Lauderdale. They were really dominant and very, very impressive. Coming off a bit of a break too, Damo. They've had the match Anzac Day against the Tigers, so they'll be well rested today and come in quite fresh, having played a number of games in a short space of time. And Clarence, we saw them last week against
Sorry to interrupt you there, Brownie. We're just trying to sort out a headphone situation for Big Breno. He's not happy, he can't hear himself. You know what he's like.
Yeah, sorry, as I was saying, Damo, we saw Clarence against Launceston last week, and they were pretty honest again, weren't they? They were a pretty determined group, and we know there's a lot of young players in that group, and lots of players have yet to play 20 games of TSL footy, and they'll have another debutant today running around for them. So a bit of a test for the Roos today to see where they're at against a team that is tipped by many to be in the top 2 or 3 in the competition.
Yeah, we probably thought coming into the season Clarence might be the best team out of the south this season, but Glenorchy quickly reminded us the talent they have here at KG5, and clean bill of health has helped. Last year they were hit with injury all throughout the year, but they're fit and firing. On the other side of the ledger, unfortunately, the Roos again without Brady Jones. They're likely to miss him for 6 to 8 weeks, which is a massive blow for them. And they've also still got some key charges out with the likes of Speedy Standen and Keegan Wiley. So not at their absolute tip-top shape are the Roos, but we know when these two clubs collide, personnel doesn't really come into it. It's all about this fierce rivalry.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's been some interesting contests in the past. They met in that first TSL Grand Final, didn't they, Brownie, back in 2009? I think it was 6 points in the end. So since then, it's certainly they've had some close contests over the 9 or so years the competition's been back around for. So I think Clarence might have been the first team to beat Glenorchy here in a while too after that long period.
Yep,
yeah,
correct.
So they certainly know how to play KG5, that's for sure.
Yeah, last year they got the job done of it, and it was a massive deal at the time. The Pies went on to lose, I think, 3 or 4 in a row at KG5, so they started a tough period for the Pies, but it's a much healthier looking Pies list at this point in time. Paul Kennedy's really got them playing some good footy. Brownie, we've been impressed with his work.
Yeah, look, the game that we saw going back a few weeks ago now, Damo, they just look very well set up and organised, particularly behind the footy. They've got some great users and distributors of the footy. It's always been a key feature of Glenorchy, their kicking skills. But they're strong in the midfield, and when we saw them, I think they had 11 or 12 different goal kickers, so they had a really good even spread of contributors right throughout the day. So that's probably one of the keys to their successes. I thought they worked really hard off the ball as well when they went in possession. So that was a key feature of their game. And we know the way footy's played now, boys, the way teams roll up, try and keep it in their forward half, get repeat entries until you can score. And they've been really set up and organised to really tap into that modern day football.
Now, a couple of late changes there. Breno, take us through those.
Yeah, we have got a few changes. In comes Jake Bierman, which is exciting. So he'll play alongside his brother Jai, a couple of years between them in age. So looking forward to seeing the Bierman boys, 34 and 35 too, their numbers. So right next to each other that way too. Yeah, a few late outs though. John Geard is out for Glenorchy. Daniel Copperman, Bailey Bester and Sam Berry, the other ones that haven't come through from the squad that was named earlier in the week. And for the Roos, Harry Richmond's out, so that's a big loss for them. He's played pretty well.
Yeah, no, he's been one of their live wires.
Absolutely.
No,
yeah, so he's a big loss for them, but adding to an already big injury list. Not sure what the issue with him is today, though. And also Braden Dart, James Brenner and Jacob Smith all out of the squad. And Alex Silver is the late in for Richmond.
So Silver gets a reprieve, and we go from beer man to beer men there, Cam, with a couple of beermen involved. Interested to see how his brother goes, because Jai's been terrific.
Yeah, we were really impressed with him, weren't he? On debut, I think we saw him and kicked 3 goals. Was really lively. I think Anzac Day down there too, down at the Twins. He was a very good player and kicked multiple goals again. So we expect him to feature quite prominently, albeit he's still a young man making his way in the game.
So umpire Joel Harris lifts the ball aloft, and we are about to get things underway here. BUPA TSL action. Fierce rivals, Glenorchy and Clarence to collide. Up we go. The bounce favours Bailey. Goes nowhere meaningful. Harper grabs it. He's collided into by Daly, who climbs all over him. Ball's not coming out of there. It'll be a ball up.
Jeremy Weberley starting in the centre bounce today for the Roos boys.
So up again, rinse and repeat. Duffy and Bailey. Duffy gets hands to it this time. Harper, a tumbling ball, hands out. Can't quite can Chambers. Bustling through was Weberley. He loses the footy. At ground level they collide again. Chambers underneath it. Coming through for the Pies was Millhouse. It'll be yet another ball up, this time just outside the square.
Bowden starting forward for Glenorchy, being picked up by Jason Bailey.
So up again we go. Duffy down, out the back. It's to Chambers. He's claimed in a tackle. Climbing on top was Camerick. Brennan rather, and it'll be another ball up. So stoppage to start here, Brenno.
I was about to mention Brennan Damo on debut for the Magpies today. We heard about that during the week as Weberley drives it inside. And Chambers, though, gets it out the back. He puts it high in the air, and it's all Glenorchy underneath it. Nice mark taken by Arnold. His kick's not the best, though. Puts it into dangerous territory here. Well, Glenorchy good enough to get the footy back, though, and they run it out of defence. Through Joseph, puts it up towards the wing, and now the Pies have some time and space. They hit it inside the centre square. Mitch Rainbird takes a nice mark, plays on quickly, gets it in the direction of Bierman. He's been a star, the 15-year-old. Hopefully we can see him in action again today, doing some wonderful things just like that. Gave the don't argue, gets it inside 50. Players flew, ball still alive for the moment, but players dive onto it, and a ball up will take place about 30 metres out from Glenorchy's goal.
Big fly there from Mitch Walker. We saw him a couple of weeks ago. Boys kicked 5 goals on debut for Glenorchy.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game that day. Here come the Magpies. Oh, the handball wasn't great though, and Clarence to bring it out of defence, but the kick's a shocker and straight down the throat of the skipper in Braden Webb, and he'll go back and kick from about 45 metres out, slight angle.
Well, we know he's been one of the better midfielders in the competition now for the last 6 or 7 years, but he's also been a very reliable goal kicker, which is another feature of his game. So he can hurt you when he rests forward, but he can kick goals out of the midfield as well.
It don't come much easier than this when it comes straight down your throat, and he pops it through for the first goal of the game. The Pies are on the board here at KG5.
It would just be the way the modern game is, boys, often setting up behind the footy when it is in your forward half. You just have to execute your skills really, really well coming out of the back half, and unfortunately there for the Roos it was a indiscriminate kick which found its way to the Glenorchy captain, who made no mistake. Perfect start for the Pies.
A sharp start after what has to be said a scrappy or so opening exchange. I just caught one in the back from Matthew Armstrong. Thanks, mate. Back in the middle. Up it goes, courtesy of umpire Harris. Bailey and Duffy collide. O'Brien farms it out. Harper on the boot, a tumbling ball. Gunther comes and collects. Kicks in the direction of Webster. Webster picks it up off the ground, loses his footing as he looks to bound away. He gets support, but the Roos, good pressure here. Pile on top. Really good tackle. Be a ball up on the wing, inching closer towards Glenorchy's forward 50. So up it goes again. Slapped down by Parker. And Daly catches Harper high, so it'll be a Roos ball. I'll move it outside of their defensive half. Harper has the coach on offer, and that's where he heads. Hits up Webberley. He's got Quinn for company. So nothing obvious ahead of Webberley. He steers. It's cut off by the big Duff man. He tries to find an ally in Salter. Throwing to ground was Bailey of the Ryan variety. There'll be yet another stoppage. So a bit stop-start to start this game. Bailey over the top. Harper, he may be caught high. No, says the umpire. Farms it out. Bailey goes to throw it on his boot. Throws it out instead. It'll be thrown in.
So 1 straight 6. No score to the Roos. Nice crowd in here at KG5. The Mariners curtain raise it before against the Sydney Swans Academy. Very nice round of applause for the Mariners as they left the field as Rainbird pumps it forward. But only as far as the boundary in the end as it's smacked over for another boundary throw-in. Did you make of the Mariners, Brownie?
Yeah, very impressive. They're going to be hard to toss now, you would think, for the Div 2 title. They're well on the way. Certainly look the best team in the competition.
Sun playing a little bit of havoc out there as we see Duffy put his hand up to his head to try and block it as it came back in. Roos go long again. 2-on-1 contest, punched in the air, and again seen over the boundary for another boundary throw-in.
Just wondering, Damo, we saw in the last quarter and a half Tim Castle moved forward last week against Launceston. He started forward today and picking up Daniel Joseph, so I wouldn't mind betting it's a defensive role for him today.
And I don't mind it at all given the start to the season from Joseph.
McCamerick put the boot to ball, Webb, and now the Pies are away again. But a good mark taken by the Roos through goal. Holmes played very well for the Roos this year so far. Back to goal. Oh dear.
It's dropping the ball.
And now it's all Glenorchy here. They've got time and space. Webster on the painted 50. His kick's not the best, but it's going to work. And now Bierman puts it on the boot. Has it got enough? No, it doesn't. It's hit the post. Minor score.
Just very untidy at the back there, the Roos. Very untidy as they work their way up from defence. This time it's Ling to Holmes. It's probably the offender, Holmes. Just unsure by foot. He looks in the Williamson direction. Punched away from him. Gould picks it up. He's got a problem because he's got Parker all over him. The ball will be thrown in. 50 arc. Glenorchy's attacking end. 7 and change gone here at KG5. The ball comes in. Parker down. It's picked up by Gall. He's crunched in a tackle. Going nowhere fast. Courtesy of Rainbird. And it'll be up it goes again. So 1-1-7 to the Pies. No score Clarence early in this one. Parker down. Camrick had a good Anzac day. Farms this one out the back. It's picked up nicely. Off the boot of Webberley. He looks in Dickinson's direction. Jumped into the back of Cunliffe, perhaps. Yes, says the umpire. So a free kick against Millhouse. This one steered in Webberley's direction. Just gets the journey to him.
I don't think it was a full 15.
No.
Steering aside was Webberley. It's a gutsy kick. It doesn't come off. Webster picks up the footy. A vacant 50. Just Holmes ahead of him. It bounces the right way, but Holmes is the goalkeeper. There to cut it off. Hands it off. They'll work it out of defence now with Williamson. He's got Hanslow inside if he wants them. Opts to go back for Holmes. Just agriculturally moves it down the wing. They're on now through a web of handballs from Millhouse. Back for the skipper in Webb. Webb a little one for Daly. Almost not on the first bite. He's got time to mop up. Turns around. And there's a whistle.
It's unnecessary.
There's a whistle, and it's a Glenorchy ball, so this one hurts.
Young Bierman again, I think.
It is young Bierman.
Gee, they're having trouble getting it out of their back half at the moment, Clarence. Glenorchy is set up beautifully behind the ball. We alluded to this in the pre-game, how impressed we were the organisation of Glenorchy.
So young Jai Bierman comes on in and pokes it through. Glenorchy have their second.
One of the things with the Glenorchy, and we've been saying it for a few years now, boys, the cohesion among the group and how many games a lot of these boys have played, even at Mariners level and through the junior ranks. And now, you know, a lot of these guys have played 6 or 7 years of senior footy together, and it shows they seem to know each other's games so very, very well. Early days in this game, but you compare that to Clarence, who have a lot of young players in the making their way in the game. So it'll be a real challenge for the Roos today with an inexperienced team. Good start for the Pies, though.
Yeah, almost 10 minutes gone this opening term. It is all Glenorchy, 2-1-13 to Clarence yet to score as we restart. And there's a chance here for the Roos now to get a very rare inside 50 so far this afternoon. Bouncing ball towards the boundary. Over it goes again. Might notice the players in the green armbands today, Brownie, for umpire appreciation round. Good initiative by AFL Tasmania. Is that a national thing, Damo? Or?
I think it's just a...
No, it's a Tasmania initiative. Really good one as well, across all the leagues, so not just TSL.
Ball goes towards Clarence's goal, but fisted over the boundary again. Yeah, great initiative. Still a healthy crowd in here to watch these two arch rivals go head to head. Good to see everyone at the TSL. Creating a few headlines at the moment, the comp, Brownie. Bit going on.
Certainly is.
Ball comes back in. Duffy out in front, wins the tap. Here's O'Brien, collects the footy, but he's dragged to the ground and holding the ball. So well done by the Magpies there. Good tackle. They'll get the kick now in the back pocket. So Arnold, smothered off Arnold's kick and tumbling towards the goal. This could be disastrous. It's all seen over.
Castle's tried for the Daniel Wells there.
So a bit sloppy there from Joshy Arnold, who's normally really reliable.
Yeah, normally very reliable. Had a couple of moments by foot already in this game. Normally so assured.
As the Prince brings it back in, Jay Bowden. And a nice mark taken back with the flight. Magpies up and on top early here at KG5. They pump it long again. Heading towards the boundary though, and over it goes.
Couple of nice early touches for young Roberts. Damo, we saw him make his debut a couple of weeks ago in the season.
Yeah, very neat and tidy. Some of these youngsters included in the Glenorchy lineup, the mix of experience, it's working well as the ball comes back in. Doesn't get anywhere near either ruckman, but they don't bring it back. Harper hands on, it goes down the wing, and it'll be yet another stoppage. It's a run out. So Magpies with a decent start here at KG5, 2-1-13 lead the Roos, just the one minor score. Struggling to get it out of their defensive half at the moment, the Roos. It's well won inside. Jay Bowden now hands it out. Quinn has a runner in Joseph, hands it off. Bowden, good web of handballs here. Salter now out to the side. It will be Arnold. Arnold can just find Camrick in acres of space. He can have a look at the sticks here, Camrick. Opts to just nudge it into the pocket for the skipper, Webb. Not quite. Coming across was Holmes. Did well. Looks to shake the tackle and can't, though. And it'll be thrown in.
Lovely build-up again, and you mentioned that a couple of times. A lovely wave of handballs from Glenorchy. That was a key feature of that build-up. The Camrick just to kick a little bit too high on that occasion, coming inside 50.
So back in it comes. Wall paddled down, going nowhere is Seymour. He's tackled from two directions, and it'll be yet another ball up. So it'll be thrown up again. Wall gets hands to it, but it's taken by Rainbird. He spins, he turns, he throws it on the boot. His kick bounces out on the full, and Holmes will bring it back into play.
So this has been the challenge early in this game for Clarence, just to get it out of their defensive half. Glenorchy again have got them all manned up.
So Holmes belts it back into play for the Roos. Pack flies. Walker throws it onto the boot. High ball inside 50. Nice mark taken by Braden Webb again. Kicked the first goal of the game, and now we'll go back and try and kick number 2. Unless he finds a better option. He's having a good look around.
It's a difficult angle from where he's on at the moment.
He's indeed.
You might have a look at the banana here, boys. No, it looks like he's shaping for a drop punt.
So Braden Webb, star skipper of the Magpies. Is a drop punt in the end. And off to the right, unfortunately, for a minus score. So 2-2-14 now the Magpies. The Roos 1 behind. Here it comes again. Ling takes the mark. Back to Jackson O'Brien. Bailey throws it on the boot. It hugs the boundary. Players fly. Millhouse was there, but Dickinson out the back gets the footy. Howlett. And over again. Boundary throw in. So we await the ball in. Almost 15 minutes gone. Opening term. Magpies lead it by 13. Here it comes. See Walker in the ruck now for Glenorchy. Ball spills to ground. A lot of cloud cover here this afternoon. The sun's disappeared for the moment. Just coming out in patches. A little bit of rain earlier for the Mariners game. Walker. Nicely done out of the ruck, but ball with the Roos. And now Roberts there. We mentioned him earlier. Had some nice touches early. See another boundary throwing, Brownie. A
bit of a concern on the boundary line at the moment for Clarence. Wade Wall's just coming off the ground, hobbling with it. Looks like a lower leg injury. Might have been ankle.
Well, some interesting stuff for Wade Wall during the week. We asked about him at the press conference to Jeremy Webberley. He's off overseas in a few weeks, Cam, and Jez has almost admitted he has to make the call within the next week or so whether he keeps playing Wade Wall, given he's going away very soon. Here's the Roos. This is a nice bit of play, but unfortunately Ling's dragged down. Still alive. Not going too far though. And the umpire will eventually blow the whistle for a ball up. So what would you do in that situation, Brady? When do you make the call? If you know your player's going away, he got a long injury list, he adds a bit of experience, and he's obviously a great player. When do you make that call that you don't play him?
Yeah, that's a difficult one for the coach, and he's been pretty valuable for them this year too, Wade Wall. Playing predominantly forward.
O'Brien belts it forward. Glenorchy players fly for it. Here's Webberley though at the back. His kick goes into the forward line. Mark can't be taken by Dickinson. It's punched over by Glenorchy's Connor Salter. And we'll have another boundary throw-in. Good like last week, boys. Boundary throw-in counts up early, isn't it?
So we thrown in. A shallow throw, punched down by Duffy, is picked up by Silver. He farms out for Chambers and he snares. A valuable goal for the Roos. They're on the board here at KG5.
Well, they needed that one just for their confidence. They haven't spent a lot of time inside their forward 50 so far in this game. It was a nice little bit of work out of the stoppage from Alex Silver, who gave a nice little handball and a neat finish from Chambers. Get the first one for the Roos.
Yeah, nice piece of play that from Gabby Chambers. A very reliable player for Clarence for a long time. Just gets the job done, doesn't he? So the margin's cut to 7 points as we approach time on the opening term. Much needed goal for the Roos. It's been all Glenorchy early in this match. As we restart. Off it goes. Cox wrapped up, and now Bowden gets the handball away. And now here's James Webb right on the paint of 50. He strolls on in, has a good look at goal, and it is a ripper. Magpies get their third.
Well, he had his pocket pick there, didn't he, Jay Cox? And it was that man again, Jay Bowden, who ripped it out of his hands and then just had the presence of mind to feed it off to Webb, who's a much improved player at this level, boys. He really comfortable now, running and carrying the footy, and a really neat finish. Bit of a body blow there for Clarence after that Chambers goal. But been a slow start, actually, for Jay Cox in this game.
As indeed. Not really in the thick of the action just yet. So back in the middle. Ball being bounced will restart though. That's a shocker.
Some umpire appreciation round, Damo. Be nice, please.
Yeah, I'll just call it like I see it. Doing great work though as it goes back up. Rainbird, clever. Soccer's off the ground, a bouncing ball. It'll be picked up by Beerley. He heads back in the Holmes direction. Hands low now, got in a bit of trouble, but I think a free kick's going to let him out now, Clarence. It will. Webster just catching hands low high. He guides it to Holmes. Had a bit of trouble with his kicking so far, Holmes. A little untidy. That's good work from Cunliffe. Shakes off the would-be tackler. Silver, back for Cunliffe. Working it down the wing now, the Roos. Kicks in ball. That's beautiful for Weberley, but it got a touch on it. Keeps it moving to Harper. He eyes goal. And he hits goal. Beautiful stuff from the Roos. Much more like it. And Harper finishes off.
Nice bit of work, wasn't it, from the Roos? And it came on the back of some really nice run and carry from Cunliffe. And you think a lot's going to rest on their shoulders. Players like O'Brien, Cox, Cunliffe, if Clarence are going to get pretty close in this game. But a good start in many ways for them because they haven't been at their best. They're only 7 points down in this contest. And a nice finish from Harper, who's throughout his career at TSL level has shown he's a reliable goal kicker. We've seen him play multiple roles already this season, playing deep forward, sometimes that medium hybrid forward, and also has rolled into the midfield. Good finish.
7 point margin. Nice response here from the Roos. As we see Cunliffe come bursting through. Daly drops the footy and maybe taken high he was. So advantage paid here for Glenorchy. It goes inside 50. Walker there, but it's all Clarence. They bring it out of defence again. Holmes is running and he kicks it towards the boundary. Is it deliberate? It is.
He probably gave himself away, didn't he, a little bit, because he napped an expletive there.
So here he is, young Adam Roberts, who we spoke about earlier. His kick's a wobbly old kick inside 50. Fly from behind from Webb, but Cox is good enough to get the footy. He goes backwards to Ling. And Ling will just slow things up a little bit.
Being one of their better players, I reckon, Ling, in the start of the season.
His kick straight to Chambers, just. So Chambers, who kicked the goal a few moments ago. He's everywhere. He goes out towards the wing. And nice mark taken by Cowie. He plays on quickly. And it's straight down the throat of the opposition. Marked by Salter. He goes backwards to Arnold. He's got Bowden wide. Decides to use him. And Switcher plays on. Inside the centre square. Straight down the throat of Jackson O'Brien. Captain today with Brody Jones out. He pumps it long. And it goes straight to Arnold. But it looks like it's a free kick. And there's a bit going on still behind play there. But this will make it a 1 point ball game if the Roos can convert. So the tide's quickly changed here.
Been a handy goal kicker in recent weeks.
As we did see him last week, hit the post from close range, but he's kicked some beautiful set shot goals and some goals on the run over the last couple of weeks.
Ashton Dickinson to make this a 1 point ball game. Comes in.
Jeez.
This is off to the left though. What a bad miss.
It looked horrible off the boot, to be honest.
A let off for Jay Bowden. Not too often we talk about a turnover from him, as he just tried to bite off a kick through the middle of the ground.
So Joseph now through hands after playing on. Bowden, long, looking in the Bierman direction. Questionable work from Bierman. Looked to fix his hair as he was sitting for the mark.
He was right in front of the camera, to be fair.
And Bailey pounced. Here comes Bailey. Inside, looking in the Cunliffe direction. Cut off from Bowden, and he's immediately racing away. Hands it off for Webb.
Gone.
And now Joseph. Gone. They'll work it away now. It's Cowie. Throws it on the boot. Cut off. And cut off well by Josh Grant. So the Pies will just steady the ship here. Not a lot in this contest. Been fairly scrappy. Out the back is Walker. Couldn't take the grab. He's crunched in a tackle. It's good defensive effort.
Just struggled to get into the game. Young Mitch Walker, who was so impressive a couple of weeks ago. I like Grant down back. I know early on in his TSL career and even at Mariners and junior level, he was tried a lot as a forward. Just looks more comfortable down back. So
up it goes. Clarence looked to almost emerge from the stoppage through Cunliffe. He's crunched and will be another stoppage. So umpires having their work cut out for them. The scoreline 3-2-20 to 2-2-14 here at KG5. Making a real arm wrestle are the Roos. Patted down by Walker, just socket away. Almost for Cowie. He runs over it. Cunliffe does superbly well, gets it out the back. And now it's all Jake Cox. Cox looking over. Can't quite find his target.
Geez, good tackle from Silver.
Bailey. And it'll be tipped out.
Only early stages in the game, boys, but I think the Clarence Brains Trust would be really happy with the defensive job at the moment Castle is doing on Joseph. Joseph just struggling to have his normal attacking influence on the game by foot.
Undersized Dickinson in that ruck contest, but the Roos come out with it. Cox just throws it on the boot. He'll have another crack at it, but he's swarmed on. And well done by Mitch Rainbird there, namely.
They do spread well
in game tackle.
Sorry, Damo. They do spread very well in this situation, Glenorchy.
So Webb cuts across for Arnold. Arnold, not his best kick. Tumbling towards Gunther. O'Brien there first. Farms it out. And Neild now will race away. He's got Silver over the back in Acres. Silver takes the grab. And that is good footy from the Roos.
Well, I'm a big Josh Arnold fan, boys, but unfortunately today, 2 or 3 times just by foot, he's been a little erratic and untidy. Normally extremely reliable coming out of the back half and hitting up targets.
So Alex Silver, he was dropped during the week. He got the reprieve with a late out. He needs to put him away, and that's what he does. A good goal for Silver, a good goal for the Roos. And what do you know, scores a level here at KG5.
Yeah, it's been some fight back here by the Roos. It was all Glenorchy early, Brownie.
Excuse me, it's been a terrific response from Clarence. And Glenorchy, probably since halfway through this quarter, have just become a little bit untidy by hand and foot. And Clarence have made them pay on the turnover. The last 2 goals scored from defensive errors from the Pies. And we've got a really close game. And it's been a key feature, I think, of the Roos and what we've seen. Boys, they're a very plucky team, early stages, but that would be a trait that we're getting used to already about this side.
Yeah, Glenorchy pretty much at full strength, I think, and certainly Clarence missing a host of their stars as we get underway again in the middle, as the coach sprints towards the footy, scoops it up nicely, heads towards the boundary. It's going to be tight. It gets there just. Boundary throw in.
I suppose the one Glenorchy are missing out of that midfield is Reece Mott, and so different players will get more minutes in there, you would think, today, because predominantly Reece Mott is probably these days about 100% of his game time is in the midfield. Doesn't push forward a lot. Big
Duff had that all to himself then. Out of the throw-in. Rainbird gets the handball away. Roos turn it over again though. Harper, he's wrapped up by Bierman and holding the footy. So nice tackle by the young man. Good to see him in alongside his brother this afternoon. He spots up the skipper in Webb. He plays on quickly. So a nice high ball. Pack forms for this footy. No one there to collect. And Holmes gets it in the end. So James Holmes, great young player for the Roos. Hits up Bailey, the back pocket.
There'll be a lot of time left in this first quarter.
Yeah, 6 goals kicked. Comes right in front of us here. Webster flew, got the footy, and the mark pays. Very nice mark by Zachy Webster. Oh, the kick's a shocker. Straight to the opposition. Neild back in the team this week after a week out of suspension. Glenorchy inside 50, only as far as Holmes, though, who's there again and gets the footy back. 28 minutes gone. Sun disappeared for now. Holmes. Harper over his head, and they just can't quite work it out of defence at the moment, the Roos.
I think you might have called it, Damo, the goalkeeper for Holmes, and he does pretty much play that role, doesn't he? He gets behind the footy and just reads it so well coming in. We know he's very courageous in the air. He's happy to run and carry the footy, and normally good by hand and foot.
Duffy on his own again. He's going well in the ruck at the moment. Here's Webb, who's had a lot of the pill early in this first quarter. Gets the kick in. Is the mark paid? It is. Yep. So, nicely done. And this would be handy if we can see a goal for Glenorchy here before quarter time. And it's Harry Parker that will take the kick. So they've been challenged here, the Pies, on their home deck. It's been a fortress for them for so long. Clarence undermanned today, as we know. What can Harry Parker do as we approach quarter time? It's just going to be off to the left as the siren blares in the background. And it's all tied up, 3-2-20 apiece. An entertaining opening quarter here at KG5.
Not quite, Breno. There's a behind. So a 1 point advantage for the Maggies.
Thank you, Damo.
Just, I know maths isn't your strong point.
Sorry, I was just squinting the scoreboard a little early.
A good first term, good competitive footy. I thought the way the Magpies started that this one might be actually a blowout, to be truthful. I thought they were all over Clarence and they had real troubles getting out of their defensive half, but Clarence hit back nicely, Brownie.
Yeah, it was shaping that way with early goals to Bierman and also the skipper, Braden Webb, and we wondered just where the goals were going to come from. With Clarence, they had some real difficulty penetrating their inside 50 and more importantly, probably getting it out of the back half. Glenorchy had a really strong forward press and were able to get numerous inside 50 entries, but then there was just a couple of turnovers for Glenorchy and Clarence made them pay. Really important goal at the time, I thought, to Chambers just to get on the board. Harper with another really neat finish, and Silver with a free kick, which was really important. So, as we said, with only 1 point of difference, Glenorchy probably wouldn't be too happy with the last 15 minutes in that quarter. I just thought they were a little bit casual at times by hand and foot, and missing some of their targets. We know probably that's their one with their kicking skills, and probably let them down that last 15 minutes. So they'll get an opportunity to regroup. But I'd think Webley and the Clarence assistant coaches and line coaches would be really happy with the response of the last 15 minutes from the Roos, Damo.
One cause for concern for Clarence is they've all gone into their huddles and Wade Wall remains sitting on the bench. So that would lead you to suspect his day's done, and he's a really important structural player for them. So that is a blow, especially against a Glenorchy tee with some decent tools.
Yeah, well, we saw him hobble off halfway through that quarter with what looked like a lower leg injury, and looks like he's done for the day. So as you mentioned, Damo, it's certainly going to hurt their rotations. We've probably seen him play predominantly forward this year. He's kicked goals, I think, in every game this year for the Roos, but can also chop out in the ruck and give Bailey a bit of assistance. So a fair bit's going to go down on the shoulders of Bailey now in the ruck. You'll probably have to ruck probably 90% of this game time.
So 3 goals apiece at the moment. We'll just whip through the scorers. James Webb, Braden Webb and Jai Bierman with the goals for the Magpies. For the visiting, Clarence Roos, Jared Harper, Gabby Chambers and Alex Silva on the board. So 3-3-21 plays 3-2-20 here at KG5. We'll have a very brief break and be back with the second stanza between these two bitter rivals. Stay with us. So back for the second quarter here at KG5, the home of the Glenorchy Magpies, and they have the smallest of leads. 1 point advantage over their fierce rivals, the Clarence Roos. It's been an arm wrestle so far. It's been far from a classic, but it has been tight. Cam Brown, what do you expect from the second quarter?
Well, I think, you know, Glenorchy on paper certainly the better team and the more experienced team. So you'd think they would have got some instructions and probably reset where they were at. Just thought they were a little bit untidy by hand and full in the latter half of that quarter. So probably their execution and decision making and ball use would be things that they would want to be working on, particularly some of those turnovers across half back, which hurt them, where Clarence were able to kick their last 2 goals from that. So I'd expect Glenorchy to come out pretty hard. But what we've seen on a small sample size from Clarence over the last couple of weeks, boys, is they're a very gritty and determined team. Obviously, with inexperience, though, comes a lot of enthusiasm and commitment and energy, and that's what we've certainly seen from the Roos over the last couple of weeks. So you'd think they're going to be plucky again this afternoon, Breno, if the first quarter is any indication. Just trying to see if there's any major changes to the lineups at the start of this second quarter, but it all looks pretty normal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's Wade Wall's the big story, I suppose, isn't he? So it's Bailey and Duffy in the ruck. Nice bounce. Get us underway in term number 2. Very nice. As Duffy gets the footy back straight inside 50. Can they? Parker got it, but no. Out the back was Webb. Bouncing footy. Easy goal. Magpies off to a perfect start.
Well, they're a bit unlucky there, I reckon, the Roos, because Braden Webb got away with a throw that went to Duffy that ended in the inside 50. So I think they're a bit unfortunate.
Beautiful ground level gather, though, from James Webb to kick his second. He's become a really consistent goal kicker now for the Pies, one of their more consistent players. He's dangerous on that left foot. They've got quite a few left footers. And the perfect start for the second quarter for Glenorchy.
Rapid work from the Magpies. Put it straight on the scoreboard to start this second term. So back in the middle, first bounce was a corker. What's he got for us here? Not as good. Duffy and Bailey, that is a big hit from Duff. Out the back, it's collected by Ling. He gets rid of James Webb, finds Chambers, hands it off, finds the coach in Webberley, navigates traffic, almost falls over, but has an ally to use in Gall. Gall now, bit of time and space, powers along, pack forms out the back, almost Dickinson drops off. Bailey, Harper, Webberley. Back for Harper, centre wing. He'll power along, looking in the Castle direction. Good work from Castle, good body work. Takes the grab, but unfortunately juggled it over the boundary. Will be thrown in.
Looks like Josh Grant and Castle is the matchup in this second quarter.
So the ball to be thrown in. Bailey and Duffy. Duffy, strong fist down. It's collected by Chambers, but he's going nowhere fast. Be another one.
Yeah, only difficult for the Roos to give Bailey a chop out in the ruck, Damo. Just trying to think who else could roll through there. Maybe Neild.
So Webberley throws it on the boot. Neild almost. Falls out for Cowie. Can't find his target with a handball. Salter now. Feeds it out onto the wing. Looking in the Daly direction. Holmes comes bravely towards it, but doesn't kill the ball. Jai Behrman picks it up. Looks forward and finds his target. There's a good hit inside 50. Out the back is Bowden. A very good grab from the Glenorchy great. He'll line up for his first of the afternoon.
It was young Brennan there with the inside 50 kick. I thought at one stage he was going to hit up Mitch Walker, who was on the lead, but decided to go more central. And why not? Because the master with a beautiful mark inside 50. Opportunity to get on the scoreboard, personally, for him today. To speak of Jay Bowden.
Jay Bowden usually so reliable in front of the sticks, and this is no different. Straight through the middle. And the Magpies, rather, start with 2 quick goals at the second quarter.
It was pretty similar to the first quarter. We saw the Pies kicked to fairly early on in the game. Some nice ball movement though from Glenorchy on that occasion.
13 points to BUPA. Early start here at KG5 today. Well done to AFL Tas for that initiative. Don't mind the 1 o'clock start, Brownie.
Well, Damo and I were talking about it off air. We're all for it, except there's a clash with the Bulldogs at 1:45.
We go again in the middle. Duffy again. O'Brien wrapped up with a footy by Camrick. Webberley. He does well to get out of there. Gets the kick away. And now Clarence has the footy inside the centre square. Chambers chasing it, but picked up by Joe Bowden. Handball over the top. They're away here, Glenorchy now. Pack forms. Now we take the mark. And now Bowden again to his skipper, Webb. Gets it off. And now another inside 50 for the Magpies. Rainbird. Nice mark. He's got Bierman on the other side of the ground. Does he use him? He doesn't. He'll go back and have a shot by the look of things.
Well, a couple of names you mentioned in the call there, Bowden, Webb, and then it was a lovely deep inside 50 from Daniel Joseph, one of our favourite players, boys. The first time he's really been able to find a little bit of time and space with the ball and was able to hit up Mitch Rainbird.
So Rainbird wanders in. Kick is okay. It's a goal. So very fast start here for the Magpies in term number 2. Their lead is now a big one.
Well, when you get the ball in the hands of your best users of the footy, it can be a pretty easy game at times. And on that occasion, we just saw the class of Glenorchy. So important 5 or 6 minutes here coming up for the Roos. Probably need to get Jake Cox involved in this game. I'm wondering whether or not it's worth him spending a little bit more time in the midfield. He's deep forward at the moment. Webberley's been pretty good for Clarence already in this game, having said that.
So back underway. It's won by Duffy, down for the run of Webb. Bundling through was Cunliffe. And it'll be another stoppage, edge of the square. The Roos just need to get their stars into the game. Struggling to get easy ball is what I'd say.
Glenorchy have rolled an extra one up here at the stoppage.
That extra one might have been Webster. Had it for an instant, then stolen by Webberley. Threw it on the boot. Out the back, geared, bundling through, as is Silver for the Roos. He's claimed in a tackle. And a rolling maul. Inside 50 for the Roos.
As is often the case, Clarence happy for James Holmes to be the loose man in defence at the moment.
So hit out one by Duffy, but it falls for Webberley. He looks
Great
at
kick.
goal and he turns around as soon as he kicks it. Beautiful finish from the coach. He started this game well, and that's exactly what the Roos needed to respond in term 2.
No, great call, Damo. It was a beautiful finish. He just found himself with a little bit of time and space at the back of the stoppage. And a really polished finish there from probably a kick almost outside 50, was it, Damo? And a really good response from the coach leading the way with his team. I think he's had a terrific start to this game. And him and Joe Bowden, probably the 2 best players on the ground early stages in this game.
This time last year, very same game, Webberley was near best on ground in their Roos big win. So he'd be hoping this is a bit of a fire starter for his season as well.
Back to 13 points here at KG5. Bailey scoops it over his head, gets his footy back and bombs it inside 50. Here's a chance for the Roos again. Cox flies for the footy. Gunther's there though at the back for the Magpies. Gets it out of danger. No, he doesn't. He kicks it straight down the throat of Chambers. And now the Roos have a chance at goal again. So nice mark from Chambers. Looks like he'll have the shot himself. This would cut it back to 7 points and a great response. Chambers goes short, finds Neild. And now he'll go back. It's a better angle and kick from about 40 metres out. So he played well a couple of weeks ago against North Launceston, Neild, but missed through suspension last week against Lonnie. This will be a great goal for his team if he can convert here successfully. In he comes, gets close to the man on the mark, and off to the right for a minor score. So a little let off there for the Magpies. Now every player in this half of the ground at the moment. As Joseph brings it back into play. Hack forms. Mark wasn't taken. Ball to ground. Webster gets tackled from behind by Ling. Umpire lets it go. And now the Magpies are away through the skipper in Braden Webb. Ball marked right on the wing. So nice day for footy. Sun's disappeared for the moment. Ball's pushed forward. Daly went for the fly, and Williamson, who's had the fresh haircut during the week, centres the ball. Was dangerous. Webster gets it. Was he taken high? Umpires let it go twice. Webster plays on, kicks on the paint of 50. It's a high ball. And the mark wasn't taken. Webberley there to scoop from behind and gets it
Great
up
kick.
to the wing. Really nice kick. And now Clarence have done well here. O'Brien takes the mark. Gets it away to the running Seymour. And now, unfortunately, the ball over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
He just missed the target there, Seymour, by hand, but he's looking a little bit more comfortable at the level. We've seen him over the last couple of matches and early on in his TSL career.
Yeah, for those that haven't watched the coverage the last couple of weeks, cricket background for Fletcher Seymour, as we know. As it comes back into play, Duffy and Bailey go at it again. Beeman was there. Now another inside 50 for the Roos, but only as far as Daniel Joseph, who's lifted this second quarter. Now the Pies have some time to run it out of defence. Mark
Great
taken.
kick.
Yeah, it was a great kick. Mark taken by Salter. Goes short to Quinn. Quinn plays on quickly, and the kick's not great. Straight to Jackson O'Brien. Plays on quickly. Beats his opponent. And now hits up 50. Cox in his direction. Too many Glenorchy players there, though, on offer. Now they're out of danger, Glenorchy. Mark taken by Grant. Webb. Webb goes to Rainbird. Just fell short. Back to the skipper. Now Webb hugs the boundary. Tries to find Daly. And now it's over the top. And now they're away here through Brennan.
Oh, that's
All
a great
sense
kick.
it was a great kick, and he spots up the superstar Jay Bowden, and he's going to be directly in front kicking this one from about 30 metres out.
Well, this could be his second assist for the quarter. I love the way he just lowered his eyes there. Would have been easy for him to blaze away, but just had real presence of mind and maturity, even though he's really early on in his TSL career, obviously. But a beautiful kick, and Bowden, who just reads the ball off the air so beautifully, gets an opportunity for his second for the quarter.
In he comes, Jay Bowden, does not miss these, and kicks it successfully. The Magpies extend that lead now even further after a nice little fight back from the Roos.
Yeah, well, we've mentioned a few times today Josh Arnold's kicking was a little bit off in the first quarter, but that was all set up from his play in the back half with a beautiful kick coming out of the back line. As this one gets out 18 points. Probably worrying signs at the moment. Again, Clarence have Jake Cox deep forward, just wondering whether or not it's an opportunity to get him involved in the game by putting him right in the heart of the action.
Walker has the ruck contest to himself. The ball skittles forward. That'll be high. The Glenorchy ball. The young I think it's Beerman.
It is, yep. Yeah. The older Beerman.
The older Beerman. He steers it out onto the wing, Robert's direction. Gathers it on the hop. Goes back for Joseph. And just slaps it over the boundary. And that'll suit Clarence. It'll be ball in. On the wing, approaching. Clarence is attacking 50. So they snapped a bit of momentum. Clarence weren't able to put the second one away. That would have really been handy. Ball back in. One by Walker. Out the back, it's just booted, punted by Webb. Quinn runs under it, slap forward. Cox just gets it to boot, I thought. No, says the umpire. Superb tackle from Quinn. You'll find the laser-like boot of Joseph, and that's how he uses it.
He's a ripper.
He is an absolute cracker. Turning around and inside 50. Go the Magpies, not quite the grab. Another stoppage just beyond the arc.
Yeah, what's been happening a little bit in different occasions, particularly in the midfield, you'll see Daly going up to create that extra person at the stoppage, and Holmes is the one sitting back in the back half for the Roos.
O'Brien with a quick clearance, but doesn't go anywhere too far. Walker brings it back in, and that's enormous! That is enormous!
Wow.
Bowden with a huge fly.
That was extraordinary.
Magnificent mark. I thought he might have gone a little bit early, but he just had the ability to hang in the air. You often see when people jump early like that,
Wow.
they become off balance and just hit the deck, but he just seemed to hang in the air. What a magnificent mark. What a player.
He's a freak show.
We might have a new mark of the year contender. We thought we might have had it down at Lauderdale.
Well, yeah, we saw the flying mullet. It was on the footy show during the week.
Yes.
Someone might want to send that one in. Jay Bowden. Geez, he's had an impact in this term, lining up for goal number 3 for the game, and the term leaves it hanging. It's unfortunate because that mark deserved a goal to go with it. What a cracker that was.
Gracious me.
Put that on repeat. O'Brien, a little nudgy one into the pocket. Roos, lucky to get away with that one. Gall, a low-flying ball looking for Seymour. Can't quite gather. It's picked up by that man Bowden. He gets it out the back. The running Joseph slaps it on the boot. Inside 50, Rainbird the target. Timely fist from Gall coming across. Webster sniffing around the pack. Be a ball up. Deep inside 50 for the Maggies.
Can't get over that mark.
I've got to be excited.
I can't wait to watch that back.
The call or the mark?
No, the call was terrible. No, the call was brilliant.
Webster through traffic. Shakes off a couple. He's eventually caught and out of time. Holding the ball. A good defensive pressure there. It'll be Gall's ball.
So this is where the Roos have had, again, a little bit of a struggle getting it out of their back half.
So powering to a pack on the wing over the head of Walker. It's just kicked forward by Webberley. They'll just try and work it through Neil, but he's caught. And Glenorchy will get the footy back through Arnold.
One thing about Mitch Walker, he does often just mistime his leads, Damo, just jumping a little bit early, missing the flight of the ball. Hopefully he can work his way into the game.
He got the handball away. Seymour does well for the Roos. Williamson. Seymour again. Webb. Just can't get it out at the moment. And umpires paid a free kick here to the Magpies. So they currently lead this one by just over 3 goals as they pump it inside 50 again. And Jay goes again. Wasn't quite the fly of last time, but he was there and ready for it. And the ball really tight on the boundary line here. Eventually goes over for another throw in.
I reckon, Damo, this is where you just about clear the 50 if you're Jay and just say, look, I think it's my time here.
Yeah, when he's running hot, just get out of the way and buy a couple of tickets to the Bowden show.
In it comes again. Williamson was there for the Roos. Seymour got the kick away out of danger, but it's gone over the top. Neil now has the footy. Roos have some time here, but they just don't do well with it. Neil pushed Gunther away off the footy. Gets it back though, Neil. Now it's right on 50. And it comes. Dickinson's there. Can he take the mark? He can't. Done well by the Pies. Quinn. Quinn's ball. It's dangerous. O'Brien, was he dealt with without the footy? Umpire let it go. Big let off there for Glenorchy. No, it's gone the other way. It's gone the other way. Well, there you go.
He's right to be filthy there, I reckon, Jacko.
Absolutely. No, the free kick was definitely there. Anyway, we go on. Glenorchy's kick. Up it goes, and Holmes takes a nice mark. Plays on quickly. It's up Chambers. Goes back to Holmes. Seymour. Williamson. Can't get the ball. Goes further afield, though. And they've still got it, though. Here's Harper. Wobbly old kick inside 50. Bouncing footy to the coach, Webberley. Silva gets wrapped up by Gunther. And we'll have a ball up.
Again, it wasn't pretty from the Roos. They just couldn't get it through with any system. And then eventually it was just a hack kick forward. But they get an opportunity here for a stoppage inside their forward 50.
So it's a mismatch in the ruck. Walker wins his own footy. Gets it out of danger. No, it's still inside 50, but Bowden does well. He's a silky smooth mover, we know that, but O'Brien wraps him up, and he's pinged for holding the footy.
I reckon he got caught there, boys, not using his left side, left handball there, and came back inside, well read by Jackson O'Brien.
Bit going on here too now as they play on. So there you go. So O'Brien kicked the footy. Well, that was going all on behind plate, and now we'll have a shot on goal from the Roos. From about 25 metres out, and it's a bit of an angle. See if Dickinson can convert. Just to make the margin reduced to just 13 points. In it comes, and it's a good kick. So Clarence hit back again. They won't go away, the Roos, despite being challenged here by Glenorchy.
Yeah, it was an important finish for his confidence too, Dickinson. He missed one in the first quarter that we'd normally expect him to kick. But some good defensive pressure from Jackson O'Brien. Jay Bowden just caught in the tackle there, biting off a little bit too much inside his defensive half. And O'Brien had the presence of mind to just spot up Dickinson, who's a crafty forward for the Roos. Gets him within touch, 13 points to lead.
You wouldn't mind being a Clarence supporter because they just...
Oh.
I'll reserve comment on that one. You wouldn't mind being a Clarence supporter because they just hang in games. They just make it competitive and they just don't let teams get their own ways. We're back with a throw up this time. It's Rainbird trying to tear through.
Think of the outs today as well for the Roos. There's plenty of them, isn't there?
Yeah, and real top end.
Yep.
It's thrown up. Duffy down, Rainbird does
nice.
well, shakes off a would-be tackler inside 50, a bouncing ball, it's gathered and it's handed off for Roberts. He loses it, coming through was Bailey. James Webb tries his best to get out. And there's a kick. And it'll be Bailey's ball. Not exactly sure what for, holding man I think. The umpire signal. So Bailey has home short in the pocket if he wants him. Ignores that and looks further ahead and finds Chambers, who's an eager beaver. Gets it moving. Long from Cox. Good kick. Great kick. Finds Silver over the top. He can use Neild. Leaves it hanging a little bit, but Neild takes the grab. End-to-end footy from the Roos.
Well, similar to Daniel Joseph early on this quarter when he was able to run and carry. For Clarence, that player is obviously Jake Cox, and that's why we like him spending some time in the midfield. We know how dangerous he can be up forward, but you saw then just as able to run and carry and slice it through by foot.
Very casual approach from Neild, but he made no mistake whatsoever, straight through the middle. And another for the Roos. They're just 7 points adrift now. Really good stuff from the Clarence Roos.
Well, he's been a handy recruit since coming across from the Tigers. Neild, he can play forward or back, and a really good response again from the Roos. Just when we thought it might have been Glenorchy potentially pulling away in this game, similar story, wasn't it, boys, in the first quarter, and in the last or the back half of the second quarter, once again Clarence getting on top.
Jake Cox with the blood jumper on too, boys, and the number 16 at the moment. So we restart. Duffy tapped it down, didn't go very far though. We'll restart. 7 point margin here. 22 minutes gone. Second term. Entertaining contest from KG5. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Kick off the ground there by Seymour. Only as far as Joseph though, who pumps it inside 50. You know, could take the mark. Yes, he can. Great mark there from Parker. So he had a few options there, but he was a bit slow to start. He ends up finding one though, and he finds the great man again, Jay Bowden. How many shots has he had from this spot today, boys?
I reckon this is his fourth for the quarter.
Yep,
A worrying matchup. He just reads it. He's always got a bit of space to run into. He just seems to read it quicker off the boot, and was able to get some separation on his Clarence opponent. Worrying matchup at the moment for Clarence.
So this for his third goal of the afternoon. Jay Bowden. He's a star, we know it. And he makes no mistake. Puts Glenorchy back in front by 13 points.
He's a future Hall of Famer, isn't he? No doubt about that.
No question.
Well, the way he's going, he might be inducted this year. We saw Jack Revolt inducted during the week, Brownie.
Yeah, terrific.
Another player yet to retire.
Yeah, Jay, what's that, 3 for the quarter now? He's just turned it on. He hasn't really had a bag so far this year, so we know that he can kick big bags of goals, especially here at KG5. And he just looks on this afternoon, playing on one of the premier defenders in the competition in Bailey, but Bailey just can't stick with him at the moment. So back in the middle, Glenorchy just regain ascendancy as it's down, and O'Brien from the wing emerges and wins the ball. Cunliffe caught high.
Right. He's a player they need to get into the game a little bit, Cunliffe.
Play goes on, and it's Webley. He kicks inside 50, not his best. In fact, it doesn't even reach the 50. Bounces. It doesn't even bounce. It's out in the full, so
yeah, that
sloppy stuff. Oh, Braden Webb, lovely. Round 1. Gets his kick on the wing. He's collected as he kicks.
Well, they'll be disappointed with that because it was an erratic kick.
Wasn't
coming out of the back half. He's normally so precise by foot.
Yeah, a bit of a let-off for him downfield, so the Camrick ball.
Now, if they can switch it out the other side, they've got numbers here, Glenorchy.
Anzac Day Mellis, no, it'll be Big Duff who hands it straight off. Camrick goes along, all Clarence, and it was
Good mark, isn't it, man?
It was Bailey. He slipped over and then reassessed and still took the grab. Good bit of work from the ruckman. He's got his work cut out for him today. Finds his brother. Goes back in the Gaul direction. The kick just lands short. He's got a bit of work to do now, Gaul. Hands it off. He'll receive it back, you'd think, from Cox.
Did well, Gaul.
Back over the top. Did real well, did Gaul. Bailey with an interesting kick. Joseph cuts it off.
He's
in the
been
long
pretty,
sleeves.
Sorry, Dom, he's been pretty good, Joseph.
Joseph inside, Seals, Arnold in all sorts of trouble. He's tackled. Clarence emerged from it through Holmes. He's brought down. Another stoppage. I've heard of mockers, and then there's mockers. Cam Brown.
Happens to Brownie a bit, doesn't it?
He's been good.
Yeah.
Then gives one of the great hospitals. Up it goes again.
No more praise for any player today.
Bailey, and out the back is Cox on a burst. Looking in the Neil direction. Over his head and the defender, Salter. Neil tracks it down. Oh, the siren beats him. An entertaining second term here at KG5. Some fireworks to finish off here.
Oh,
right on the fence. They're all coming over. This is what you see from this rivalry.
We love it.
They know. Oh, another jumping on top.
This is good.
I'm not sure the match review panel will agree.
Yeah, there's a player
There
down
is.
for
They're not moving either.
Glenorchy.
They got
Let you
ironed
know
out,
that
I
will be
think.
shortly. Starting to separate a little bit now.
Looks like it was Arnold, I think, is it?
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who came through, but a Clarence player came through and collected him.
Yeah, it's Joshy Arnold.
Looks like he's badly winded at the moment. Starting to separate themselves now.
We love the bit of rivalry, boys.
Still a little bit of verbal going on.
Yeah.
Jay Cox is still in the middle there.
So, half-time here at KG5. Glenorchy are on top, 8-4-52. The Clarence Roos, 6-3-39. They just will not die. The Clarence Roos, a really good arm wrestle.
Still going
A
here.
really good game.
Still a bit of verbal stuff happening.
That second quarter, really, an exclamation point from Jay Bowden. He was terrific, wasn't he, Brownie?
Jeremy Webley locked in deep discussion here with the umpires too. Just quickly, boys. As is Braden Webb.
Okay, yeah, as you mentioned, it was 3 goals to Jay Bowden. Was probably the difference in that quarter. It was 3 goals to 5. Glenorchy shot out of the blocks early with a couple of goals. Webb featuring early to start the second quarter. Once again, though, we saw a response from Clarence. They were able to get on the board, a couple of quick goals, Neild and Dickinson for them, with some good defensive pressure and a steadying goal there from Jay Bowden. So Glenorchy will go in with a 13-point lead at halftime. They're certainly not playing at their best. Be interesting to see after some altercations there to end the second half how both teams will venture back onto the ground to complete the next 2 quarters of this game. But Clarence, I think they'll be pretty pleased with their effort, Damo, in terms of their intensity and their willingness to stay in the contest. At times, Glenorchy have threatened to potentially run away with this game, but as we keep mentioning, the Roos fight really, really hard and just find a way to keep in touch.
So a feisty finish to the first half of football here at KG5. A really good contest. It looks like it's going to go deep in this one. Glenorchy with the advantage as it stands, 8-4-52. Clarence 6-3-39. Stay with us. We'll have a brief break now and be back with an exciting second half. The bitter rivals, Glenorchy and Clarence.
kick, and he'll do that from about 48 metres out. Distance never a problem for him, Brownie.
No, and it's almost a bit of perceived pressure there, wasn't it? Just when the ball's in the vicinity of someone like Jay Bowden, you can sometimes overcommit in the contest, which is what happened on that occasion with Bailey.
Oh, he plays on. He went for the set shot, played on, and it's a wobbly ball, but the mark has been taken by Bierman.
Now you square it up inside.
He said he was playing with his hair before, Damo. He's come out after the break with the headband on. Obviously causing him an enormous amount of grief as the young man comes in, goes for the snap, but unfortunately a minor score on this occasion.
That can't be for his hair.
Well, you called it.
No, well, I just thought it was a bit of showtime from him. As Webley goes long out onto the wing, looking in the Bailey direction, punched away from him and out of play. I just saw it was a bit of showtime as he sat for the mark, a little...
I caught him a few times too, I think, so I think it might be something to do with the hair. We'll keep a close eye on that throughout the afternoon, tackling the big issues here on the stream this afternoon.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought you're a hair expert, but... There you go.
No, swim between the flags, Brent.
Here it comes again. Harper with the footy. He's held with it.
It's going to be pinged.
He's going to be pinged. And free kick going to Daly. So chance for Glenorchy to score the first of the third term here.
Been pretty quiet today, Daly.
He has been. Haven't caught him too much as Bailey flew from behind. We'll have another boundary throw in. Yeah, he's had a quiet day, Brownie. He's a little pocket rocket. We know that, and hasn't featured too heavily, has he?
No, and he's been in some pretty good form. Certainly a couple of weeks ago, he had a terrific game against Lauderdale.
Ball comes back into play. Bailey tried to get the footy, and now we see the ball go to ground again. To a goal. Another ball up. Getting pretty dark here at KG5. Feel like there might be a bit of rain about to hit us at some point in the afternoon. Sun-drenched at the start of the game. Bit of rain earlier for the Mariners curtain raiser. Had a big win too. The Mariners are going beautifully as we see a free kick paid here to Holmes. So James Holmes plays on quickly in the Roos, trying to bring it out of defence. 13-point margin here in the early stages of the third quarter. Ball comes to the wing. Pack flies and Neil gets the mark. Been in good form, Neil. Missed last week, as we said earlier, through suspension. Played pretty well against North Launceston the week before. Clarence been pretty competitive the last couple of weeks against the two northern powerhouses. Webley was almost wrapped up. Now, ball goes to ground again. Very stop-starty start to this third term.
It's just been a bit spluttering the opening 5 or 6 minutes in this third quarter.
So Duffy down to Webb and then thrown on the boot. That's maybe just bounced inside the boundary. Will be thrown on in. So yeah, a bit stop-start, a bit scratchy in this third quarter. A 13-point advantage to Glenorchy. They're in control. The ball comes in. Bailey down, but straight to his opposing ruckman in Duffy, who's wrapped in a tackle. That's going nowhere, right on the paint of 50. A whistle.
Free kick off the ball.
Free kick off the ball. It's going to go the way of Hanslow. It's a young Hanslow. We'll take a look. The distance may trouble him. There's 45 or so. He hands it off to a runner in Cox. Cox into the pocket. Silver almost, couldn't quite. And it's out for a throw in. Clarence look to get one on the board here. He said Cam Brown, the next goal would be important. It's taking quite a while. It's one down by Bailey. Going nowhere was Webley and all that. They scrap out a kick, but it's just going to tumble its way to the boundary line. So 13-point advantage to the Magpies. A real arm wrestle here. Stoppage after stoppage. Neither team, well, In fairness, Clarence denying Glenorchy fast ball movement. They've made a really good contest. Bailey down, straight to the opposing skipper in Webb. He gets one out, almost a fly from Bowden. Not quite though. And it's out.
Just some scores around the grounds this afternoon. 23 minutes into the first term at North Hobart. It's Lauderdale leading 21-8, and at Windsor Park, Lonnie 32 lead the Tigers 1 straight 6.
So the ball back in. Duffy first to it, all on his own, in fact. Down, looking for Millhouse. And he eventually gathers. Hand it off. It's Joseph. Throws it on the boot, but Gall, leaping out from defence, takes a grab. Off to Ling. Ling looking in the Silver direction. Bounce short of Silver. Unlucky bounce for the forward. They'll manage to scrap their way out of this. Roberts was tackled without it. Joseph got a kick away. Coming through was Holmes. He's a brave customer. Gets it off for his coach in Webberley, who guides a nice ball to Dickinson. So Dickinson looks inside 50, hugging the boundary. Cowie makes a contest. He'll be thrown on in deep in the forward line of Clarence.
Still no goal to start this third quarter. Both teams just struggling with a bit of cohesion out of their back half.
Yeah, 9 minutes gone and no major as yet. Can Clarence do something here and peg the first one back? It'd be great for their confidence moving forward in this game, as Joseph, though, does well to get it out of defence. Walker's there, Williamson as well. Seymour running onto the footy. Rainbird beats him to it. Jay Bowden comes crashing through. Rainbird tried to get the kick away. Didn't happen for him. Jay Bowden gets it back again. He tries to take everyone on. He's pinged. So the kick will go the way.
He's a bit stiff there, and he got a handball there.
I thought he was a bit unlucky.
Clarence
Rainbird burst through there in that contest, but had no one to kick to. So that's why he almost tried to kick it sideways, and he's limping there. Looks like he's copped a nasty one on the leg or the hip.
All right, play goes on. Seymour's there. Cox as well, but Glenorchy get it away again. Only as far as Howlett. Howlett gets the handball over the top. Seymour does well, dodges and weaves. Cox is now with the footy right on the paint of 50. A cheeky little kick inside. Silver takes the mark, plays on and breaks the goal drought here in the third quarter.
We've seen Silver do that a little bit in his career at this level, just been able to bob up and find pockets of space and played on rather than have the set shot, and kicked his second for the day, which is a good response from a man who was out of the team on Thursday night to bob up and kick his second. Brings it back to a 7-point margin.
Yeah, they just won't go away, the Roos. They've started pretty well in this third term. And a very, very handy goal there from Silver. So back in the middle.
Well, in fairness to them, we think that Glenorchy, on paper and form and so forth, would potentially run away with this game. But try telling Clarence that, Damo, at the moment, just 7 points behind. If they can get the next one here, their spirits will be really lifted.
They're having none of it, Cam Brown, as it's paddled down. Cunliffe comes through. He's tackled by Daly. Great contest from both footballers. Rainbirds come to the bench in quite a bit of discomfort.
This has been the margin for them, though, hasn't it, Clarence? They haven't been able to bridge it since probably the opening 5 minutes. It's just hovered around that 2-goal margin.
Cowie does well, rides the tackle, finds Seymour. Seymour into the 50. Oh. Both Glenorchy players flew for it, and a big tackle sees it come to ground from Dickinson. Good bit of work from the half forward. So it'll be a ball up inside 50 again. A lot of play inside Clarence's forward 50. Hit out, down, Harper snares it, looks at goal, turns and shoots offline. Minor score.
So Clarence with the only goal this third term. The lead is one straight kick. 12 minutes gone, and that kick straight down the throat of the Roos and inside to Dickinson.
Smart kick from Bailey. Just lowered the eyes, didn't he?
All Clarence here at the moment.
He's really come into the game, I reckon, Bailey. Sorry to interrupt, Bruno.
Agreed.
Dickinson will shoot directly in front. About just under 40 metres out. this to tie it up, would you believe? Clarence will not go away. Ashton Dickinson comes in. The kick looks bad, and it is. It's missed a lot out in the full.
Well, he had no momentum in his run-up. He almost looked like he leant back and got too close to the man on the mark on that occasion.
He might have the yips a little bit, I think. His last 3 shots for goal have been fantastic.
Ball back into play. And again, Clarence take the mark through Bailey. Plays on quickly. And
Great
Chambers marks right on the paint of 50. He plays on really quickly. Gets the footy off and gets it back in the end. Dodges past one. Gets boot to ball. Only as far as the Glenorchy player though. And now Bowden escapes danger. Bouncing footy. Who can get there first? It's the Magpies.
Mitch Walker is out, boys, by about 50 metres.
Camrick, the Anzac Day medalist, gets it to Walker. Takes a nice mark, but no one to kick to.
Quinn's streaming a goal.
Quinn bursting through. He decides to go very sideways. It's a stinker. And now Clarence turn it over through Castle. Castle gets it forward. Mark taken by Dickinson again. The Roos have players everywhere. They're away here. Oh, the kick's a bad one, though, from Hanslow. And now Glenorchy turn it over. Bierman, what can he do? Gets the handball away. Duffy wrapped up by Cowie. Umpire lets it go. Oh,
Great
big tackle by Cowie and holding the footy.
Couple of superb
Advantage
efforts from Cowie.
paid. Advantage paid here for the Roos. Inside 50. Mark couldn't be taken. Magpies, can they get it through Bierman? Hanslow, little tunnel ball out. And now they're away, Glenorchy. Bouncing footy. Bailey's there to collect and mop up for the Roos. Short little kick. Mark taken by Gall. He plays on quickly. Centres the footy. And now Castle, the veteran, looking for an option. He finds Williamson. Back to Castle. Castle under pressure from Bierman. Williamson there. Ball to ground. Bailey does well for a big man, but no, he's pinged in the end. And it's coming back now to Glenorchy.
Well, they just can't get it out of the Clarence forward half at the moment, Glenorchy. They've had some real trouble. Clarence set up very well behind the ball in the last 15 minutes or so.
So Quinn looks to switch. Finds Jay Bowden. The edge of the arc. The superstar. Will look long, looking for Daly. Just over his head. Gall should be able to mop up for Clarence, but he's got Daly hot on his heels. A slip at the perfect moment in the end for Gall. Comes to Ling. They're out through Howlett. Through hands, they're moving it down the wing. Cox, an errant kick. Not good off his boot at all.
It's been a scrappy quarter so far, boys.
It has. And that immediate turnover is with Hanslow. He looks for Cunliffe, puts him under the heat. Cunliffe, great tackle. Can't question about the way he goes about his footy, Cunliffe. There'll be another stoppage. Yeah, you're dead right, Cam Brown. It has been scrappy. Far from a masterpiece, this one. Pull back up again. One by Duffy. Socket away. Picked up by Bowden. A pretty clever handball. It's one by Joseph, but he's wrapped up. So it'll be yet another stoppage. Still in the forward half of the Roos. They've done well just to hem them in this quarter. Not a lot in this ball game at all, just a goal in it. Swatted away out of the ruck contest. Webb whacks it on the boot. Quinn can't get his hands out, but it ends up with Rainbird. He tries to ride the tackle, but he's caught by Seymour.
Bit of rain on the way, I think, Gil.
Yeah, it's been looming all day. Very gloomy afternoon. The footy's been reasonable, been a good contest. Duffy now sucks down. Bowden under immediate heat from O'Brien. Yet another stoppage. So 8-5-53 the Magpies, the Roos 7-5-47. The game's still well and truly up for grabs as O'Brien again tackles Bowden. We have yet another stoppage. Neither team able to break it open. So again, Duffy wins it down. Walker claimed in a tackle. Red and white all around him. He's in a blur and it's holding the ball.
Just hasn't been able to get into the game at all today.
There's Webb underneath it in the finish, rather. So Howlett back for Bailey. He's got the run of homes. If he wants to go short, he might look longer. It's an interesting helicopter kick. Williamson hands off to Howlett. He'll receive his footy back and then drop it off once more. Howlett looks further ahead. Neal tries to create a contest, but Duff, he set himself and went and leapt and took the grab. So the big man for Glenorchy puts a high skied ball, come down with snow on it and straight into the arms of Bailey. Bailey has Dickinson offering up. Can't take the grab. Mopping up was Joseph. Joseph inside for Camrick, over his head. Comes to Cox. Cox to Neal, who does well to bring it to ground. Smothers Joseph. Daly probably tackled without it. And that's what the umpire says. So it'll be a Daly ball. O'Brien not happy. But it looked pretty clear cut, that one. So Daly being pretty quiet. Puts this one on the inside 50. Williamson leads the foot race. He bounds outside 50. Finds Cox on the outside of his boot. A little one to Silver. Silver over for Ling. Ling looks ahead. Not a heap offering on. Harper makes a contest. At the fall is Daly. Coming in was Arnold. Slaps on the boot, the outside of his. A little one falls for Holmes. Through hands, he should find Ling over his head. He's got a bit of space to work with though, Ling. He steers it in board. Cunliffe almost the mark. Off hands, falls for Harper. He wheels around. Lines up the goals. Just offline.
He had his coach running into space over the back, screaming for it, but he took the responsibility.
Just offline in the finish.
He did miss by a lot. Glenorchy looking tired for mine at the moment, boys.
Yeah, which is interesting because we know they're coming off an extended break after playing on Anzac Day. So Bierman goes long. And now Clarence to get it out the back through Seymour. Former cricketer. O'Brien. Captain today in the absence of Brady Jones, their inspirational leader. And now here's a chance for the Roos. Again, they go inside 50. Nice mark taken. They play on. And now Webberley right in the pocket will go back and potentially have a shot here on a very tight angle.
I think he'll run around.
He'll finish this.
He's going to run around, I reckon, and try and snap this across the body. Going on previous experience, I would have thought.
So Jeremy Webberley, the coach of the Roos, to put his team in front.
He's done it.
He's done it. The coach has put his team in front. The Roos up by a point. They will not go away here at KG5.
Oh, it's been a terrific quarter for them. Full credit to them. And well done. He's been a terrific player right throughout this game, Webberley. And a great finish across the body. And danger signs for Glenorchy. They just look a bit flat. They seem to have lost a little bit of their run and zip. Their ball use is off. They've had enormous trouble trying to penetrate through a very strong forward press from Clarence in this quarter. Have been able to lock the ball in for repeat inside 50 entries. And Glenorchy haven't had a lot of the ball moving forward, it's got to be said.
The game is on Clarence's terms at this point in time. Bailey down. At the fall was O'Brien. He wins it, hands it out for the run of Holmes. Not his best kick. Under it was Cox. Slapped on the boot by Arnold, and he gets a bit of afters from Holmes. A bouncing ball towards 50. The boundary line just beats Williamson.
Remember Paul Kennedy saying at the press conference during the week, Cam, that you just don't want to let Clarence control the game. That's what they're doing at the moment.
Well, certainly this quarter, it's been all the Roos.
Rain here too now.
So in comes the rain. It's windy as well. Ball thrown in. Bailey has a couple of cracks at it. Cunliffe gets involved. Bierman as well, soccering. It's a free kick. So Bierman adjudged to throw the ball. It'll be Seymour. He's looking to go right back to full back where James Holmes occupies. He'll look for Bailey. So they've gone the switch here, the Roos. All good and well if you stick your kicks. This one not the best at all. Arnold, shimmy and a shake. A big kick inside 50. Duff all on his own. Williamson does well, arrives just to see the ball to ground. It'll be a ball up. So risky footy there from the Roos.
Well, they can't buy a goal at the moment, Glenorchy.
Duffy was all on his own then. So Bailey again, he's done a big job without Wade Wall, who of course left early injured. Out of the air goes Chambers. Inventive stuff. Daly coming through, as is Holmes of the opposition. He's got one high. Tell you what, he'd be in the best every week, I reckon, for Clarence.
He's had another terrific game today.
Just plays that role to perfection. You'd think clubs would do their homework on him, because he's such a key pillar for them. Only a young player, of course. Richardson medal last year. That's a good kick. Finds Bailey.
Oh, he's ultra consistent, Holmes, isn't he? Never seems to play a bad game.
So Bailey long. Arriving was Webley. Brings the ball to ground. Dickinson hands off. Harper rides the tackle. He's crunched from either side and it'll be a ball up.
Just a solitary behind this quarter for the Magpies.
The quarter, well and truly, has belonged to the red and white of Clarence. Walker and Bailey, neither gets hands to it. Ling almost. Harper farms out. Interesting kick from Chambers. A bouncing ball is met by Arnold. He's under immediate heat and it's with Dickinson. He sends one inside 50. Looking at the ball is Howlett. Joseph wasn't looking at it whatsoever. Maybe lucky. On hands and knees now. Howlett and Joseph. It'll be a stoppage.
Spoken about this a bit, Brownie, but pre-season, Jez Webley thought he had the best team in the South, and today was going to be the big test, wasn't it, to see exactly where they are at from that point of view, and at the moment, looking very, very good with a lot of their star players out.
Oh, it's been a terrific quarter for them.
So Bailey out of the ruck, slaps on the boot. Is it goalward? Yes, it is. That is magnificent from Bailey, who's had a really good quarter, and the Roos are on top in this game.
Well, we mentioned when Wade Wall went off, he was going to have a ginormous workload in the ruck because he wouldn't be able to get a chop out, and he's done some terrific work, battled manfully, and that's a real bonus when in a stoppage your ruckman can take the ball from the ball up uncontested and snap one around the corner and put your team 7 points in front. What a terrific quarter from the Roos.
Yeah, all the hard work ahead of Glenorchy here. One-way traffic in this third term. And such a fortress here, but Clarence have always caused them headaches. We saw that last year. We're seeing it again today as we restart. Ball not going too far. Another ball up. 7-point margin to the Roos. As we keep saying, without a lot of their good players today.
Still a quarter and a bit to go, but if Clarence were to go on and win this game, what a tremendous win that would be for a young group.
Bailey out of the middle, but mark taken down back by Grant. Gets it to the wing to Rainbird. Rainbird.
It's been untidy, haven't they?
Lazy kick, that.
Yeah, Duffy fell over it. Rainbird tried to get the footy back and does. Tucks it under his arm, but dragged to the ground. Clarence get boot to ball. Now they're away. Here's Harper. Over the top to Jackson O'Brien. O'Brien steadies.
Hanslow.
Inside. Hanslow takes the mark. Will go back and kick from 30-odd metres out to try and put his team up by 13 points. Extraordinary stuff here at KG5.
Well, it was a great lowering of the ice from Jackson O'Brien. Would have been easy for him to blaze away long, but just had the presence of mind to see Hanslow working into a pocket of space. Gee, this becomes an important kick for the Roos.
Tyson Hanslow.
I think he's kicked a lot of goals in his TSL career.
This to make it 13 points. It might fall a little short. It feels well short.
Oh, that's worked out okay.
That's when you know it's your day.
So Neil takes the mark.
If you're Hanslow, you claim that, don't you?
Yeah, I saw him out the corner of my eye. So Neil, it's been good for the Roos this year since coming across. Bit of wind out there now he has to deal with, and doesn't deal with it. And it's off to the left for a minus
score.
score.
He's lining up though. That's I don't know.
You called it, Brad?
That is one of the more bizarre set shots.
Motioning to think that's where he'd set up, so a let off for the Magpies.
Webb kicks it, and good mark taken by Gunther.
I just wondered whether or not, boys, you put Gunther forward.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been pretty quiet.
Hasn't sort of gone his way so much and seen a lot of ball, but we know he's a great goal kicker. good matchup, good target in the air. So I just reckon it's worth possibly throwing him forward.
Camrick had Webb on, didn't use him, goes inside 50. Holmes, gobble, 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 as he does. And there's the siren in a dominant quarter for the Clarence Roos. Absolute one-way traffic, and they lead it by 8 at the last change, 9-7-61 to 8-5-53.
3 goals 4 to just one solitary point on that occasion, that being the 3 goals 4 obviously to Clarence, and they turned it on, and it was an arm wrestle for the first 10 or so minutes before any team looked like scoring. But it was all based on effort, I thought, and grit and determination from the Roos. They locked it in their forward half in that third quarter. Glenorchy just were unable to get any consistent ball movement out of that back half. And in the end, Clarence got reward for their effort, didn't they? And they walk in with a lot of confidence. We're just looking at the body language of both teams now. Clarence just lots of pats on the back, high fives as they're making their way into their huddle. Glenorchy just breaking off in their groups. The heads look a little bit down. And it's hard to believe, really, because we thought that they would certainly be the fresher team, but at the moment they just look a little bit tired, and you just wonder where the spark is going to come from. I'm just wondering whether or not Paul Kennedy, this is an opportunity for him to throw the magnets around a little bit. Maybe you get Joseph up onto a wing, maybe Gunther goes forward just to give a bit of a look. Walker struggled to get into the game today. Maybe you move him down back, just something a little different. We know Rainberg can go forward at different times and be a target, but something needs to happen here for Glenorchy, particularly early on in this quarter. You would think otherwise a major upset is on the cards here, Damo. But once again, haven't we been impressed with Clarence? And this has probably been brewing for a couple of weeks, boys, their effort. And today they're really getting reward from the commitment that they've had to the contest. And it's got to be said, too, they've been a man down for a large majority of this game. And they'll go in chock full of confidence, a young group. Really exciting for them to be 8 points in front at three-quarter time.
Yeah, big test for Paul Kennedy now. We've been so impressed with his team, undefeated coming into today. Be interesting to see what he says at the three-quarter time huddle. At the moment, the Clarence Roos are on top, 9-7-61, 8-5-53. We well and truly have a ball game on our hands. Stay with us, go nowhere, because this one is shaping up as an absolute cracker. So back for the final term here from KG5, the fierce rivals, Glenorchy Magpies and the Clarence Roos. At the moment, the Clarence Roos, big underdogs coming into this matchup, and they have the lead at the final change.
Look at this too, Damo. The Clarence boys out, ready to go.
Ready and raring.
Still in the huddle. Don't look like moving at the moment.
But I'd be interested to see what Paul Kennedy's saying there. I reckon it might be the first time he really has to show some passion and vigour and fire up the troops, because they've got a job to do in this last quarter, Brownie.
Well, if you're Paul Kennedy, sometimes you've got to win ugly, and you don't always get a clean win where everything goes your way. All your game plan and all your time and energy to spend on during the week rarely does it come off 100% of the time, and I don't think Glenorchy would have planned for Clarence to be in front at three-quarter time. But having said that, they'd certainly have some contingencies in place, and will be interesting to see what they do here in terms of personnel.
I also do wonder what the breeze is doing, and how much of an advantage Clarence had in that quarter.
Yeah,
it's tough to gauge here at KG5.
Certainly picked up, hasn't it, as the afternoon's gone on?
It has. So just waiting for Glenorchy support staff and supporters to make their way off the field, and we'll get this fourth quarter starting. The Roos with a handy buffer. And it could have been more, of course, if Neil had have put away that one deep in the third term. Probably should have.
Yeah, great call, Damo. That would have been a very handy goal for them. But they're 8 points in front. And with a young group, a spirited group, a determined group, it's got to be said, 30 minutes away from what would be a terrific win. Glenorchy, though, proud club, been in really good form this season. Paul Kennedy looks like he's coaching potentially from the boundary line this quarter, boys.
Looks fairly animated.
Relaxed customer.
Yeah, usually relaxed, but he's actually quite animated. I saw him in at the huddle. It was probably a bit more that I've seen from him than I haven't so far. He has a bit of swagger about him usually. So in the middle we go. First goal goes without saying, but very important in this contest. Up goes the bounce. Duffy misses it on the first crack. Gets it on the second, but it falls for O'Brien. He puts it out for the run of Chambers. He's collected, but manages to scrap out a handball to Cowie. The run of Holmes, and then over the top for Harper. He manages to get out of a tackle. Cowie does well. Finds his coach in Weberley. Weberley inside 50. The wing gets a hold of that, I think. And it's out for a throw-in.
Had a little bit more time there, the coach, and he just blazed away a little bit. He's been really good by foot today. Glenorchy started with Zach Webster in the goal square.
So the ball thrown in. Duffy and Bailey. Duffy gets it off. Rainbird has a couple of cracks at it as it's smothered. Hands out. Harper to Weberley. Weberley scraps out a kick. A bouncing ball toward the pocket. Arnold runs it out. So, of course, we rotate the votes in this setup, and you're up today, Cam Brown.
Yes.
Jay Bowden looked like he was going to be a clear three voter, but he's gone out of the game. As the ball's back in, down from Duffy. It's picked up well. Here is that man, Jay Bowden. He spins around with a kick onto the wing. Under it is Chambers. On hands and knees trying to work it out of here. Through comes Webster. He's caught in a tackle, and he's gone.
Oh, pinged.
Hot.
Just had one of those days, Zach Webster. Just hasn't fallen his way.
It was Webley with the tackle too. Jeez, he's had a good afternoon. This kick is to the pack. Over the back was Neil. It falls okay. Slapped on the boot.
Oh.
It's Silver, I think, or it might be Castle. I think it might be Silver. Celebrations all around. That is a vital goal in this contest. A huge goal.
Again, out of nothing, wasn't it? It was a terrific defensive tackle from Weberley, and then just drove it in, and clever snap around the body. Just what the Roos would have liked in their planning in the three-quarter time huddle. Put some pressure on the Pies now. It's been a long time since they've scored a goal, boys. Probably Jay Bowden in the second quarter when I think he kicked 3. Margin, game high 14 points now for the Roos.
How about Alex Silver? Just sending a real stern message to the coach. Don't drop me, mate. 3 goals this afternoon. if you don't mind. So all the hard work ahead of the Magpies here, and this man can get them going. Jay Bowden kicks it forward. What can they do? He gets it back. Wobbly kick inside 50. Bierman couldn't take the mark. Walker tripped. Bierman again. Punched further afield by Millhouse, but turned over by the Roos, so they out of trouble. They are through Ling. Does well, shrugs the tackle. And now Bailey. Ryan Bailey to Dickinson. Back to Cox. He kicks it along the wing. Kneeled, running onto it. Beaten by Duffy.
Well done.
Now Gunther. Gunther's got to be quick in his. Now Rainbird, can he collect? Bailey does though. Taps it down only as far as James Webb, but big tackle and holding the footy. Great work by the big man.
I reckon it's the best game I've seen him play.
He's
terrific.
Had a great afternoon. Inside 50. Dickinson's there. So is the running Joshy Arnold. Bouncing towards the boundary, and he sees it over for a boundary throw in. So, gee, they got some.
He's been pinged.
He's been pinged for deliberate.
That was well played by Dickinson.
I put my head down.
He just pumped on the brakes about 3 or 4 metres short of the boundary and let Arnold run it over and then called for deliberate. Really smart stuff from the forward.
It's going their way.
So Dickinson snaps it round.
It's
good. It is old Clarence here at KG5. They are running away with this game. The lead 20 points.
Well, I reckon, what's that, boys? I reckon they've kicked the last 5 goals of the game, possibly the last 6.
Might even be more, yeah. Wow.
Gets it out to a 20-point lead, and they're the goals he kicks, Dickinson. And you called it, Damo, smart bit of play just to put the brakes on and put the pressure on the umpire then. Had a bit of distance between him and his opponent, and then a really smart finish. Right side for the left footer, was able to just snap it around the corner, bring it in with the breeze. Wow, this is a ball over.
Ball over, looking on the cards for sure. Bailey in the ruck, he's been tremendous. Big tackle on Bowden here. Holding man though, says the umpire. So it'll be Bowden's ball.
These don't look like scoring. That's the thing at the moment, and when you consider where a lot of the scoring did come from in the second quarter was from Bowden.
Bowden, good ball, good grab from Webb.
He's got Walker on.
He goes in the Webb direction of the Braden variety. Punched away from him. O'Brien at the fall of the ball. Just deals with his opponent and bursts away. Great kick. Dickinson on the wing. Centre wing, not much ahead of him. He's just got to just tread water for a little bit. It's play on, says the umpire. So you just kick down the wing for touch. It's punched away. Chambers with a big tackle. Just seen it locked in there on the wing.
Tell you what, boys. For a season of one-sided, predictable results, how good is this for the comp?
It's probably the best game of the year so far in terms of the way it's shaping.
Tigers and Lauderdale was a beauty a few weeks ago,
good.
but this is certainly a fantastic contest.
Rainbird gets to the fall of the ball. He loses it and then tackles. Cunliffe butters up. Goes inside for Chambers, looking in the Neil direction. Brings it to ground. Kneeled on hands and knees. He's tackled. He's going nowhere quick. But it's inside Clarence's arc. So a 20-point lead from the Clarence Roos here. KG5, they were rank outsiders. It comes down to Rainbird. He finds Arnold. Arnold usually sure by foot. Nothing to kick to though. Bailey should track back. He's got a Shepherd coming from goal. A bit of time to assess options. Not his best kick at all. In fact, that's a shocker. Maybe Webb to bring it out of Glenorchy's defence. It's out onto the wing. The Pies reload through Arnold. Just flat-footed, just lacking a bit of
options.
Lacking a bit of zip here. The Pies down the wing. They get a mark, hand it off. Braden Webb, good kick. This is better. Bierman. Looking inside 50, the target is Joseph. Punched away by Webley. Crucial fist. Will be thrown in inside 50 for the Magpies.
So when was Glenorchy's last goal, Brownie? Late the second term?
I think it's late the second quarter, probably Jay Bowden's third from memory.
Extraordinary for the top of the table Magpies.
Because James Webb got one early in the second quarter, and I think Rainbird kicked one in the second quarter as well, did he not? So
There been one-way traffic, but can Mitch Rainbird provide the spark? He can't just yet. Daly, can he? It's touched off the boot, heading towards the boundary. And out of bounds. I'll tell you what, if they get a goal, boys, it's obviously only 14 points the margin. And you know what getting a goal can do, Brownie, provide a bit of momentum. So certainly not over yet, 8 minutes into this final term. But one the other way, certainly puts the game in Clarence's favour. There's no doubt about that. Here's Webster. He wheels around, gets the kick off to Quinn. Quinn gets boot to ball, looks at goal. And could that be the spark the Magpies need? Quinn with a goal. Cuts the lead back to 14.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good at different stages throughout this game. Quinn probably went out of it in the third quarter like a lot of his teammates, but gee, that was an important goal, wasn't it? They just needed to find something. And
off the step too, it was just a really sharp finish. A bit of noise from
something
the
happening
peanut
off the
gallery
ball.
here.
We can't quite work out what it is.
Got a bit to say. Faithful. Not sure what's going on there.
So that certainly breaks a run of consecutive goals from Clarence. That one for Quinn, for Glenorchy, important, but they need to respond again here and get on the scoreboard quickly and reduce this margin inside 10 points.
Is that the fire starter, or did Clarence have the answer? Coming out of the middle was Webb, the Braden variety. Hands it off. I'll work it out of defence now through Millhouse. Not his best kick at all.
It's his kicking that lets him down, boys.
Jake Cox now turns and looks in Neild's direction. Nield has to sit under it, but he takes the mark. Nield now to Harper. I reckon it's had a pretty good year for the Roos. Looks towards half forward in the Dickinson direction. Swatted away with gusto by Arnold. Will be thrown in inside 50 for the Roos.
He's got great effort and commitment, Millhouse, and really a determined young player. If he can just finish off that side of his game by foot, get a little bit more polish into his game, it will certainly help him.
So the ball comes in, bit of a flat throw, palm down. Seymour, he looks at goal, Seymour.
I just wondered whether there was something else coming on the end of that from you, Damo. I don't know what, but some sort of phrase I think you come out with this, you were wound up.
I'm just going to hold off on that one as they make their way out through Joseph. Joseph long, beyond the arc, punch down, Williamson at the full. Whacks it on the boot. Harper gets to the front, crunched. Out the back is Nield. He sees it over.
Hasn't racked up huge numbers, Taylor Williamson, but he's been really impressive today. Some of his defensive work, been really tight on his man.
So the ball thrown in again. The Roos looking to answer. Vital goal down the other end by Brady Quinn. Palm down, Daly taken immediately to ground, loses the footy. The ball nestled in there though.
I thought Gunther might have been the option forward, but they've chosen to go with Grant. The Pies has played a lot of his junior career and early TSL career as a forward.
Terrific work by Webb, just bursts through the contest. Gets it out to his brother. And then Camrick on the outside of the boot onto the wing. Jay Bowden sits under it, takes a grab. Eager to get going. Looks inside. Braden Webb the target. Has to bring it to ground with a fist. Oh, he's done terrifically well there, Webb. Finds Joseph. Joseph slaps it on the boot. Unfortunately, it's straight down the throat of Williamson. Calling for something on the outer wing.
Dear.
That is a questionable bit of use by foot, but lucky for him, Webster was unable to reel it in.
We've done what they've had to do here, haven't they? The Roos, they haven't allowed Glenorchy to get that second quick goal, Cam.
No, it's still plenty of time. 12 minutes coming up to in this last quarter.
So down from Duffy for the run of Camrick. He almost runs out of tarmac, just gets a hand off. Maybe wishes he didn't. Webley squeezes out a kick, and it's with Harper, but he juggles over. So 9-5-59. The Glenorchy Magpies, the hosts, got a bit of work to do. Clarence Roos 11-8-74. 12 and change gone here in the last quarter. Down from Bailey. And again, it'll be helped over for yet another stoppage.
Yeah, it's important couple of minutes coming up. Just feel like Glenorchy have lifted a gear in the last 5 minutes, sense the urgency in this one.
Yeah, 12, 34, 35, 36 gone in this final term. What can the Glenorchy Magpies do here at their fortress? Weberly gets it inside 50, but good mark taken by Joseph.
He's worked his way into the game pretty well after a quiet first quarter by his standards.
He gets it really wide. Finds Salter. Goes backwards to Arnold. Kick goes forward. And now Camrick, Daly.
Oh.
And Daly's kick's a stinker. It's out on the full, so not what the Magpies are after at all.
We've seen Glenorchy a lot over the years, boys, and we've waxed lyrical about their skills by foot, but I reckon it's the worst I've seen them in a long time, their efficiency and ball use today.
Yeah, it's a fair call, Brownie. Hard to argue with that as the sun peeks out again here. Fortunately, the wet weather didn't hang around. A few showers about a little earlier today. Duffy and Bailey go at it again. And now Cunliffe got it out. Gets a footy back again. Weberly, handball to Cox. Cox gets it to the top of the square, but it goes through for a minor score.
You called it, Damo. Great hands from Cunliffe. That opened up that scoring opportunity. The Pies have got to go here.
Bowden, sorry, gets pulled down without the footy. No, it's a ball up.
That's synonymous of the way Clarence have gone about it today. Jay Bowden has been caught with the footy, once holding the ball, and a couple of other times he's been wrapped up in a tackle. Just shows the commitment of the team today.
Up it goes again. Duffy gets first use of it, but the ball trickles out again through Cunliffe. So 16-point margin. Almost 15 minutes gone, final term. What can the Magpies muster here? Clarence have answered every challenge this afternoon that's been put to them. They've been brilliant, the Roos, without a host of stars as O'Brien gets it to the top of the square. No one could take the mark. It was Gunther that was there first. Castle, Arnold, over for a minor score.
Well, time's the friend at the moment for Clarence. Halfway through this quarter, and when Glenorchy have probably only kicked one goal in the last, probably 50 minutes of footy.
Williamson came crashing through, gets the footy.
Well done,
handball's
Williamson.
off. Cowie. Bouncing footy out of bounds.
Been okay, boys, Cowie?
I reckon he's had really good endeavour and some crucial tackles. I reckon he keeps his place. So the ball to be thrown back in. Duffy and, of all people, Harper in the ruck. It's won by Duffy. No guesses there. Emerging was James Webb. He was caught in a good tackle. Is it holding the man? Cries for it. Jay Cox seemed to be held without the footy, but nothing from the umpire.
Looking ahead to next week, boys. Clarence have a date with the Tigers at the Twins. Glenorchy head to Windsor Park.
It's a stream game next week.
What a blockbuster that'll be.
David Moore and the team up there will bring you an absolute humdinger. So it trickles out of play again. These stoppages are suiting Clarence to a T here, Brownie.
Well, 17 points of margin. They're going to need 3 goals. It's spot on, Damo. The Roos would love this every day of the week for that ball to be bottled up on that half forward and repeat. Boundary throw-ins and stoppages will suit them just nicely.
So Duffy wins the ruck contest, down for Daly, gets it moving. Jay Bowden should run onto this one, looks to paddle himself. He's got red and white all around him, shakes one tackle, throws it on the boot, bouncing in Walker's direction, does well, gets rid of his opponent. Got another one coming though. He's crunched, gets the ball out. Bailey, it falls out of there. It's punched forward by O'Brien. Cunliffe, quick hands, good hands. Seymour, a skied ball. Under it is a couple. Chambers with a fist. Back in through Salter. A bouncing ball towards Joseph. Paddles down for Bierman. With him is Seymour. Does well to Seymour. Gets to the footy first. Joseph taken out. Quinn now tries to pick it up between his legs. Kneeled out the back. A tumbling ball. Underground stuff. It's picked up by Dickinson. He collides with Joseph. They emerge with it. A great kick inside to Walker. And it was yet again Brennan. He hasn't had a heap of the footy, but he's had 2 or 3 really good involvements, Cam.
Yeah, it didn't quite come off the boot the way he would have liked, but it was a bit of a floater, but it went in the general direction of where he was hoping the kick would go. And as you called it, Damon, I reckon that's a third inside 50 that he's spotted up, all to this end of the ground. The first couple were to Jay Bowden. So a really important kick from Mitch Walker. I think he's worked pretty hard in the last 25 or so minutes just to get himself involved in the game.
So here he is, Mitch Walker, former Tiger, now Magpie.
Good kick.
Sends it through. That is crucial. Game on here in the last at KG5.
Big goal from Mitch Walker. Fairly quiet day, but as kick one when it counts. And the margin just 11 points now, so less than 2 kicks. Not what the Roos wanted at all. Glenorchy have lifted here in the last 10 minutes or so, Brownie.
Well, you expect them to. They're a proud club. They're undefeated. And they're playing against their arch rivals who have certainly themselves got themselves up for this contest today. And a big 10 or so minutes coming up now, boys.
Absolutely. We get underway again. Duffy, Daly. Clearance here will be all important. Inside 50 again. Braden Webb's there. Walker again. Kicked the goal a few moments ago. Camrick, little short kick. Finds Quinn, who kicked an important goal earlier. Broke the drought. Gets it inside. Oh, good mark.
How was he on his own?
How do you leave Braden Webb on his own? That's a very good question, Damien Gill, because we know what he can do. He's destructive. He's a good goal kicker. Big bit of disappointing work there from Clarence to let that happen.
Thought he was terrific early, Braden Webb. And has been a pretty consistent performer throughout the game today. But if he can get on here to be a multiple goal kicker.
This to reduce it to 5 points. Braden Webb goals, captain's goal. 5-point margin, almost time on final term. We've got a cracking finish coming up here at KG5.
It's amazing, isn't it? We were just saying how long it's been since they've been able to score a goal. And then bang, bang, bang. Couple in quick succession, 3 for the quarter. And now the pressure goes back on the Roos. Just 5 points in. Interesting to see what Clarence will do. No one behind the footy as yet, which is fair enough too. They're in front. And they've got to back themselves in here. But now it's back to the Roos to try and respond.
Roos need to answer. We're beyond 20 minutes and less than a goal in it. Neil bursts through, wins the footy, hands out, Cox waiting. Cox waiting. Cox from 50. Offline. So the margin is now 1 even kick.
Gee, that would have been handy. Good play by Neil just to see Cox in space.
So Salter may have overstepped there, to be truthful, but his kick doesn't find its target anyway. Bailey, who's been big, spent a portion off the ground just before, and we had Harper in the ruck.
So he's back on the play. Sorry, Damo. He's gone back here, taking up all the time he needs. I reckon he's going to be asked to move it on.
Extraordinary if he thinks he can kick this, isn't it? So Bailey, he's had a really good afternoon. If he can kick this, he's backed himself. He's got nowhere near that. It lands in the pocket and is punched over. So ambitious.
We've called a draw on the stream, boys.
I don't think we've ever called a draw, no.
I think we've called a close finish, Brownie, let alone a draw.
Most games sort of 20 points plus. So the ball to be thrown in.
Well, we've got
Bailey
the close
and
one
Duffy.
today.
Yeah, thankfully. Out the back, Harper just drops it off almost for Cox. He keeps it moving the right direction, though. Cox there. And over the boundary.
Well, here's a player that Glenorchy have got to put a bit of time into in the stoppage here. We're so used to him reading it well off the hands, hitting the pack at pace.
So all the numbers in the forward half for Clarence. To keep it bogged down there and try and get a goal underneath all that is Silver. There'll be another stoppage. Glenorchy will have to play on the counter. And get one here, Clarence. Will be energy zapping.
6 extra scoring shots too for the Roos, Brownie.
Hands low. Farms it out. Kneeled through traffic. Just gets it to Dickinson. Loses his footing. Did they dive into his back? Yes, says the umpire. So it'll be Dickinson to shoot for goal. We know his goal kicking is a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a right side for the left footer though. We've seen him over at Belrive kick them nicely from this angle. Just bring him through on his left foot.
So,
but gee, they'd love this one.
Absolutely.
Good call, Damo. It's Brene, 6 extra scoring shots from the Roos.
So Dickinson, he'll want to make this scoring shot count. Leaves it hanging up there and wrong side of the big sticks, unfortunately.
Say it, boys. I'm waiting for you to say it.
Might be a handy point.
There it is. Thank you.
But what I will say is a goal would have been handier. That's always the frustration with that saying. But a score nonetheless. One that might be telling. Joseph from full back. The wind howling here at KG5. It just holds up in it. It's a good grab. A really good grab by Bailey.
How long will this quarter go for, Brownie?
Gee,
How many goals
think?
we had?
Well, we've had a few goals. The
4 or 5?
Clarence have kicked 2. Glenorchy have kicked 3. So I reckon we've still got another 3.5 minutes or so in this contest.
So Bailey, from the edge of 50, fancies himself here, or at least fancies milking the clock. He goes around for a little space. Hanslow might have a look at it. It bounces beyond him. In fact, it's out on the full.
It's not a torp. It's not a drop punt.
What was it?
That was ugly. It was ugly is what it was. So the game up
as
for
silly
grabs
as it
here.
sounds, it's going to be difficult for Glenorchy to get out of the back half here.
Well, look at all the numbers, Brownie.
Correct.
Almost in the third of the ground, aren't they? As Joe Bowden brings it back into play. Big fly from behind. Rainbird taps it away, out of bounds.
Yeah, they've got one player inside their forward half at the moment, which is Braden Webb, the Magpies. I think it's Braden Webb.
Sun beaming down here now at KG5. The wind.
Mixed bag.
All mixed, real mixed bag today. Typical Tasmanian day of weather. So Walker's in the ruck. Clarence just need to keep it in their forward half of the ground and let the clock do the rest at the moment. 7-point margin. So all the work with Glenorchy.
This is going to suit them, the Roos.
Up it goes again. Bailey tapped it behind. And umpire's blown the whistle. Free kick going the way of the Magpies.
They need to go and spread quickly. 50-metre penalty, is
wow,
it?
that's very big. Very, very big moment.
Oh,
Dear, oh dear.
that is a big call.
So this brings Glenorchy to
Against
the
Jackson
halfway
O'Brien,
point.
was it, boys?
It was Jackson
Yeah.
O'Brien.
So against the skipper of the day, Mitch Rainbird, what can he do?
I'm not sure you go out there, but he has.
It's worked for him. It's gone to Webb, the skipper. He drills it inside, but James Holmes, trusty James Holmes, is there to collect for the Roos. So the back in control here. Just gets it to Cox. And they'll start to wind the clock down. You'd think 25, almost 26 minutes gone.
Well, they've just got to keep it out on that outer side, really.
Cox pops it up, finds his coach, Jeremy Webberley. He'll be wrapped with this if they can hang on.
Sorry, Breno. Teams train for this particular scenario and situation all the time, just milking time off the clock.
Webberley.
Take your mark, take 15 or 20 seconds, wait for the umpire to call you on, and then try and spot someone up short.
So Neild pumps it long. Has he got a target?
Oh,
He
great
does.
mark.
Great mark by Fletcher Seymour. He's been good today.
Yeah, I think it's his best game at this level.
Absolutely. He gets it inside. And Cox has it. He's got it on a string. He turns around. Can he kick the sealer? No. But again, an extra point to the margin.
Back to ticking to 27 minutes. It's
Yeah.
almost getting beyond
Yep.
Glenorchy.
I think it's Clarence's game, this.
What a win it's going to be for the Roos. Backs against the wall type stuff. The kick-in's a shocker too. And they've still got it back here now, the Roos. There would have been no chance for the bookies this afternoon, Clarence. With all their injuries, Bierman slips over. Handballs out to Daly. Daly handballs to the boundary line. Boundary throw-in. It is a huge victory. In the course of the season too, we know they'll get some of these players back eventually, as we see. I think it's Howlett hobbling off now.
Bierman in a bit of discomfort too.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate. Hopefully, no, it's not Howlett. It's actually the debutant, James Bealey. So, and Beerman not getting up either as we see Timmy Castle get it inside 50. High ball. Couldn't take the mark. Now Cunliffe gets it off to Seymour, who we said earlier has been fantastic today, but running back with the flight is Jay Bowden.
Been Glenorchy's best player by a long way.
He took a wonderful mark earlier in the game, but that kick was
Mockers
not
again.
his best. Holmes kicks it forward. Punch from behind from Gunther. Rainbird. What can he do? Oh, it's smothered by Cox. Cox, can he pick it up? He can't. But I'll tell you who can. Cowie can. But dragged down with it. Dickinson
Too
taken
high.
high. He was. So Dickinson will go back now. Have a shot on goal. And
It's a big Clarence win.
it is a big win to the Roos. Siren can't be far away. Dickinson has a shot on goal to try and put this one beyond doubt, make it a 14-point margin. What a win for the Roos coming up.
He's been important for them. Dickinson, he missed one that he would have liked to have got early on in this game, but he's just bobbed up at the appropriate times, just find pockets of space where he works his forward craft.
Ashton Dickinson for his third, and the sealer. The Roos are home at KG5. What a win.
It's been a fantastic win, and for a young group, and we've mentioned a few times today, some inexperience in the group, and with that, though, you get some energy and excitement, and they energise the senior group, and they get excited, and that's what's happened today, and they just hung in there, didn't they? Looked at different stages in the first half. The Glenorchy were potentially going to pull away, but they stuck at it and just kept on persisting, finding a way, determined, a bit of a scrap, and then all of a sudden got a few goals in the third quarter, and their confidence lifted, and they've had a fantastic win today.
That bounce again. But
That was the wind, I think.
This win's a real reward for not just today's effort, but 3 weeks of really hard-fought footy as it comes down to Harpo's taking in a tackle.
Yeah, you're right, though, mate. It's been a great
good.
few weeks.
Yeah, they've been good without reward, but they're going to get the reward today as Bowden streams through, hands it off. James Webb gets it on the boot. Will they get a late consolation goal here? Glenorchy. Grant dives on top. They'll hold it in there, the Pies. But the margin just beyond them now. 71 plays 85. Tough to see them kicking three goals in quick succession to win this game of footy.
A good story if they did.
So down from Grant. Spin around was Webb. He's done well to find space where there was none. Cunliffe gets it the other way. Bouncing ball out for Howlett. Duffy tracks it down but runs over it. Coming in was Joseph. Gets rid of the tackler. Has his ball blocked by Seymour, who has been really good. He's just settled in over the last few weeks, and now he looks comfy at the level.
He does, and we've mentioned certainly his best game since coming into the Clarence senior lineup this season.
So wind causing havoc here in the dying stages of the game.
There it is.
There it is! The siren, and a massive win for the Clarence Roos. No one gave them a hope in hell this afternoon, boys, but they've come and they've done it on their arch rival's own patch.
And the fans are here too from the Roos. They're very happy. And again, 2 years in a row, they've caused a boil over here at the Magpies' Nest in their fortress, KG5.
Terrific win. I think we were all impressed with the first half and how they hung in the contest and made it an arm wrestle. But the second half, they really owned it, to be honest, Clarence.
They did, and they ended up winning the last quarter by a goal. And Glenorchy certainly threatened, got it within 5 points. And yeah, I agree with you, Damo. The second half was terrific, but they probably got reward for their effort in the second half, because their effort, I thought, was always there. Even when Glenorchy threatened to potentially run away with the game, but they just couldn't put them away. They couldn't get it beyond that 3 or 4 goal margin, and Clarence just fought and scrapped and did what they have to do to stay in the contest in the first half, and then just multiple goals, 5 or 6 in a row throughout the third quarter, and that was a great response. And what a terrific win for a young group. So many of these young men just making their way in the game at this particular level. And they've got really great reward for effort over the last 2 or 3 weeks, really. and a terrific response from them. I thought that's a number of great players which we'll touch on throughout the game today. Disappointing for Glenorchy, they've been up for a while, so in some ways it might be the loss they need to have before, I think you said, Breno, a big game next week coming up against Launceston, so they'll need to respond, but they just look flat. In the second half, they looked like their energy levels were down. I thought their skill level was a little bit off today. Too much left or too few, and they had a lot of players that were down and below their best today. On the other hand, Clarence, though, they just seemed to get better and better the longer this contest went on, and I thought they had an even contribution. Different players just bobbed up at different stages when they needed to, and they will love this walking off the ground 14-point winners.
Jeremy Webley will be wrapped with his charges, and geez, he's coaching well because he's getting a lot out of this group. Go through the goal kickers quickly. Dickinson in the end kicked 3, Silver with 3, 2 to the coach Jeremy Webley, and singles to Harper, Chambers, Neild and Ryan Bailey, who had a terrific game as well for the vanquished Glenorchy. 3 goals to Jay Bowden, 2 to Braden Webb and James Webb, and singles to Mitch Walker, Brady Quinn and Mitch Rainbird, as well as Jai Bierman. Now they're the goal kickers, the better players, and then ultimately your votes, Cam Brown.
Yeah, well, I think for Glenorchy it was few and far between for them today. I thought Quinn was lively early, but then probably went out of the game. I thought Joseph worked his way into it after a good first quarter. James Webb was good at different stages today. I thought the captain, Braden Webb, hacked away at it pretty well, and Matthew Joseph, Jay Bowden, though, was their best player. Well done to young Brennan. You mentioned it, Damo. Didn't have a lot of the footy, but had some really important inside 50 entries. But for the Roos, gee, it was difficult for them to actually find a bad play on the ground. They lost Wade Wall early. I thought James Holmes was once again terrific. Dickinson did a great job with 3 goals. I thought Williamson was strong, probably his best game for the year. Neild had some moments for them. The coach was terrific. Webley, O'Brien certainly worked his way into the game. You mentioned Ryan Bailey, so we could go on, and they did it without necessarily Cox having and O'Brien having their absolute best games either. They were certainly serviceable and had their moments. Fletcher Seymour, I thought, we've mentioned him throughout the call, was a really good player, but difficult one for the votes. I'm going to give one to Jay Bowden. I wrestled with this one, but I thought he was clearly Glenorchy's best player. Burst in the second quarter. And certainly took control of the game there for a period. Looked like he was going to take it away from the Roos at any particular point in time. So I thought he was terrific. Going to give 2 to Ryan Bailey, boys. I thought he was really serviceable in the ruck. Notwithstanding, Wade Wall went off the ground, but I thought he worked really hard, highlighted by his snap around the corner, which is a really important goal in the third quarter. And I gave 3 to the coach, Webley. I thought he was terrific early, set the tone with some of his endeavour, won the footy really well, and I thought he controlled, and some of the leadership he showed throughout the game today was terrific. A bit unlucky, I thought. Holmes too probably could have snuck in for the 1 vote. How'd you see it, boys?
Yeah, very nice, Brownie. I thought Gilly Stifton missed the 3 for his call of Jay's mate earlier in the game, but no, pretty spot on, I think. Well done.
Looking forward to watching back on that highlight. Unfortunately for the Magpies, it was one of very few for them today. The game belongs to Clarence. They take a massive win in this clash, 12-13-85, defeated the Magpies 11-5-71. It's been a pleasure bringing this one to you. We'll be back next week. As I said, it's more Glenorchy action up against Launceston. Join us then with the call team, including Dave Moore. Bye for now.